At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 4 minutes, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 4 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 3 minutes and 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 3 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 2 minutes, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 2 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 1 minute, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 1 minute. Stations, this is your final time check. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 30 seconds.
This is Bleck and Abdalla on Westwood One Sports. Here's Chris Bleck and Adam Abdalla.
That's right. It's Bleck and Abdalla here on Westwood One Sports, the Westwood One Sports app, Sirius XM Channel 375, all of our great radio affiliates around the country. I'm Chris Bleck along with Adam Abdalla, broadcasting live from downtown Chicago. We're on the air until 3 Eastern. If you want to join the show, you can call or text the show at 310-840-4910. How about that? We are talking about the New York Knicks getting to the NBA Finals. They sweep the Cavs in 4 games, and the Knicks are back in the finals for the first time since 1999. Jalen Brunson, Karl Anthony Towns, they led the Knicks to the finals. Now they wait. The finals won't start until June the 3rd, so there is time off. There are 7 full days in between today and the start of the NBA Finals, and the Knicks can get ready. And what a series, and really what a run. 11 straight wins in the Eastern Conference playoffs for the New York Knicks. They're in the finals.
Bing bong.
Bing bong.
Bing there bong. It is. I told you this. I've been saying this since the last series when they were putting it on the Hawks, that this was a team that when they're on, and they've been on since that Hawks series, and they've been putting it on offensively. They don't play defense. They don't play a lick of defense. But when they're on offensively and they play a team that also doesn't play any defense, like Cleveland, they're unstoppable. And that's what they have been. This is a team that has a point differential, an average point differential of 19.5. That has set an NBA playoff record. That's more than those great Warriors teams. That record-setting Warriors teams was only about 16.7 points. Like, this is otherworldly for a team. Now, that being said, when they get to the finals and face either the Spurs or the Thunder, they could get absolutely crushed because those teams are playing what it looks like a different brand of basketball. But for the next 7 days, we can celebrate the Knicks getting back to the finals for the first time since 1999. It hasn't happened for 27 years. So This is a team that got to as close as they possibly could last season. They fire Tom Thibodeau. A lot of people, and then hire Mike Brown, which when you fire Tom Thibodeau and then hire Mike Brown, people said that, okay, you can fire Tom Thibodeau, but then you have to upgrade. And Mike Brown was not necessarily the upgrade. It was a risky move. You change a lot of the pieces, you upgrade the bench and all that kind of stuff, and then you add, and now this team gets to the finals, and Jalen Brunson has, he wins Eastern Conference Finals MVP. He plays really well. Karl Anthony Towns had a great game last night. They win by 37 points last night. And after game 3, you knew that the Cleveland Cavaliers were not going to show up last night. And you
knew after game 1.
It was evident.
That fourth quarter after game 1.
I know,
when they blew that lead.
But you knew, the way that, game 3, you thought that maybe going back home, maybe they would have some form of effort. But the way that they lost game 3, game 4 there was no chance in game 4. They came out of halftime. The Knicks went on a 20-0 run, and that was it. It was nothing.
I would say this: if you're a Cavs fan, I don't know if you even feel that upset because it was a pathetic performance from the jump, and I don't know if we remember a situation where a team got to the conference finals who had legitimately no chance to win from the start of the conference finals. And I know we can point to other great teams that made finals runs who we can have the conversation about that team, the team that won. Mm-hmm. But the team that lost, even if you look at Golden State, who you mentioned moments ago, Golden State during their title runs, they were going up against the Houston Rockets. And the Houston Rockets, based on metrics, were one of the best teams not only in the NBA that we've seen quite some time, like Golden State. And that's what's different is that Golden State was beating someone that was a worthy opponent.
Yeah.
The Cavs were not a worthy opponent. In hindsight, I don't think either team that could have gotten to that series. I don't think Detroit would have done anything either. I think the Knicks were rolling through either of those two teams. I thought heading into this series that the Cavs would put up at least the best fight in this situation. But they were pathetic. They were terrible. And I don't even that's one of those things where I don't know if there's outrage today in Cleveland over it because your team sucks. And you know that one of your star players is a guy that's a superstar but plays zero defense.
Yeah.
And once again, you saw no backbone and just the inability to respond to adversity from James Harden once again. Just showed through in this series, and you nailed it. You're right. After Game 3, the series was over. Game 3 and 4, both at home for the Cavs, were pathetic as far as the efforts given by the Cleveland Cavaliers. I do want to talk about the Knicks, though, because when I'm going through my mind of NBA history, it's Bleck Abdalla here on Westwood One Sports. If you want to join the show, you can call us at 310-840-4910. You can also text the show at that same number. When I'm going through NBA history and thinking of unlikely stars and teams that get to the NBA Finals, the Knicks are on that list because of Jalen Brunson. Usually you don't see small guards lead their teams to the NBA Finals. And that is not a shot at Jalen Brunson. It's just a historical fact. When your best player is a point guard or a scoring guard who is a smaller player, it is not, you can't find it in NBA history. You go back to the Pistons of the late 80s with Isaiah. Yeah. That's it. That's the team. Now, the other team that I thought of immediately, it's the 2001 Philadelphia 76ers. Allen Iverson was an MVP level player. He was incredible in his prime. He got to the finals. He took that 76er team to the finals with Dikembe Mutombo and Aaron McKee and Eric Snow. And, that was a nice team. They get to the finals, and they ran into who? Shaquille O'Neal and Kobe Bryant in the middle of a three-peat, right? So what happened then is that AI gets one game, and then it's a gentleman's sweep, and the Lakers win the championship. I think back to last season. Tyrese Halliburton getting the Pacers to the finals is a crazy thing to kind of think about when you look at the context of the history of the NBA. Tyrese Halliburton is the lead star on a team that went to the finals. So outside of those two examples, I'm not sure if we're finding another team that kind of steps up to that conversation where they get to the finals with a player in Jalen Brunson who has maximized his potential in the NBA. No one has gone beyond what the expectation was, like Jalen Brunson, right? Second round pick. He was drafted to the Mavs, or he was late first round, either or, whatever it is. Then the Mavs have Luka. They trade, or they decide they don't want to re-sign Jalen Brunson, and the Knicks take a flyer where he's going to be the star of this team. And there is no one more important to the city of New York in sports than Jalen Brunson. That's right. I said it. Aaron Judge? No, it's Jalen Brunson. He is the most important player in New York sports right now. And it is incredible what he's done to this point. And I think all the credit needs to go to him. You mentioned the situation last year where the Knicks lose in the finals, the conference finals, and then they fire Tom Thibodeau. You're right. Hand up. I was someone that thought that Tom Thibodeau was the guy, that he is the better coach for this team. He ran that team into the ground. Mike Brown was able to pull back a little throughout the regular season, and these guys are ready to go. They've won 11 straight here in the playoffs. And if you want to get into the historical context of these wins, the margin of victory puts them in the category of teams, the all-time greats. And we haven't seen this in a long time. And so what is it? Is it a team that's destined to be an all-time great? Can the Knicks be that? Or are they destined to be the team that's slaughtered by whoever wins out of the West? I don't know. I'm not sold, Abdalla. When we look at how this is shaping up, whether it's San Antonio or Oklahoma City, I'm not sold that this is just going to be whoever's in the West is just going to push over the Knicks and win easily in this series. I think the Knicks can compete with anybody, and I think that they can give either team in the West a series.
That's what I've been saying since the Hawks series. That's what I've been saying since they turned it around against the Atlanta Hawks and they dominated and ended that series. And then we saw them take over against the Cavs. That this team can put up great offensive numbers. That this team, they struggle defensively, and we know that. And when a team can score at will, that's going to be the problem. When they face a team like the Spurs, like the Thunder, that's going to be the issue. You mentioned the size of a Jalen Brunson. That, to me, is going to be the issue if they face the Thunder. The Thunder are gigantic. Like, that's the problem, is that the Thunder, their players are so much bigger, and they line up, they play a larger brand of basketball. Like, it's just simple. Like, their players are just bigger, and their best players are going to line up and play bigger than Jalen Brunson is. And I don't know in a 7-game series if they're going to be able to stack up against the Thunder. I think they would have a better chance against the Spurs. Now, when you factor in the fact that this team is going to have an entire week to sit around, get fully rested, get fully healthy, whatever bumps and bruises that they have are going to get fully healed. You want to say rest and rust and all that kind of stuff. You can factor that in. That's fine. But let's say the Western Conference Finals goes 7 games. Let's say that Jalen Williams doesn't play. Like, that is something to take into account for the Thunder.
Yeah.
Let's say that De'Aaron Fox doesn't play for the Spurs. That ankle didn't look very good the other night. That factors into it. I think they'd have a better chance against the Spurs than they would against the Thunder. It depends if Jalen Williams plays for the Thunder. It depends on how much Fox can play and how much Harper can play for the Spurs, too. So it's a lot of health. Like, if this goes 7 games and a more banged up team comes in to New York and has to play and they're well rested, like, that's going to be a factor. Like, the Knicks played this well. Like, obviously they're just winning games. You can't determine what's going to happen, but winning and sweeping is playing to their advantage. And the fact that the NBA sets a set date for the NBA Finals to start on June 3rd is to their advantage, and they get to sit around for a week and get fully healthy. And I think that when they're going to score offensively and when they can put up these numbers, and they can, I think they're going to be extremely tough to stop. Well, now, the problem is they're going to face, if they place the Spurs, the best offensive player or best defensive player in the NBA. And they're going to face the Thunder, who are just all around the best team in the NBA. So that's a problem. I'm not counting out the Knicks. I think it's going to be a great series regardless of who they play, and I'm not counting them out at all, as I've been saying for weeks now. I think that this is a great team. I'm not saying that they got an easy draw against the Hawks or they got an easy draw whether it was the Pistons or the Cavs. I think this is a great team regardless. They've played great basketball throughout the playoffs, and I think that they're going to put up a fight no matter who comes out of the West.
Yeah, and I think when you look at it and what Jalen Brunson's able to do and his control of the offense and the fact that Mike Brown had the offense running through Karl Anthony Towns, who is a willing passer and the point person for the offense to get moving. And then if it all breaks down, Jalen Brunson's there and he can get his shot wherever he's at on the court, whether it's beyond the 3-point line, if it's able to get into the free throw lane extended to then body, to then find a little spot. He is just so crafty at being able to get his shot off. And I think that's the thing when you look at Jalen Brunson and this team, the New York Knicks, why they're so impressive. And you're right. I think that they would have a shot. I don't know what the best matchup would be specifically, but I do know the way that this all goes is I think we underestimate until the game actually starts, right? Like, who says that OG Anunoby and Mikal Bridges, that they don't, in a playoff series where they are D'ing up the best wing players on either side, so San Antonio or Oklahoma City, who says that they don't create the kind of disruption that they did when the Knicks were going against other teams with good wing players? We saw the Knicks give trouble to the Celtics at times this season. We like that. That, to me, is what's interesting. We saw them shut down the 76ers in that playoff series, right? Like, Paul George and, Tyrese Maxey at times couldn't do anything.
Yeah.
And that was because OG Anunoby and Bridges and the defense that the Knicks were playing. And so, like, they're not maybe a great defensive team, but they have players who can play great individually defense. And I think that goes a lot into looking at this series and trying to figure out for the NBA Finals. And shout out Knicks fans, man.
Dude.
Like, Knicks fans are awesome.
Man.
I don't know if there's a better fan base in the NBA that deserves winning, right? Like that's the thing that I think when we look at it, We broadcast from Chicago each and every day. I am a diehard Chicago Bulls fan. My team sucks. But here's the thing. My rival, the team that I dislike the most, it's the New York Knicks. But I respect the hell out of them. I respect it. And I think that not only Madison Square Garden will be rocking from the NBA Finals, it's good for the NBA. I think it looks good on television. The fans show up. They're knowledgeable. The fans showed up last night in Cleveland. In Game 4, they showed up in Cleveland. You got to give credit to Knicks fans. It's cool, man. And they're a fan base that deserves some W's.
The arena's one thing. The streets were not ready. The
streets were they not?
The streets were not ready. One of my favorite things is to go on social media and watch what's going on.
Okay, outside the arena?
With the real fans.
Sure.
The real fans that can't afford the tickets. There's not
the Timothy Chalamet?
No. The real fans in the streets. There was already a ticket sold on StubHub.
You're saying Little Timmy isn't a real fan?
No, he's a real fan. Listen, I'm saying he's a real fan, but he's not in the streets.
Sure.
With the real fans.
With the bing bongs?
With the bing bongs, right? There was already a ticket sold on StubHub for $280,000.
Oh my God.
For the first game of the NBA Finals to take place at Madison Square Garden. You're a real fan if you're spending that much, if you're paying $250,000. But I said before we went into the long weekend, grease the poles. They didn't listen.
So they were climbing poles out there.
They were all over the street poles. They were all over the street poles. I thought
that was only a Philly thing.
They had the police lined up like Bane was taking over.
I thought
last night.
I thought it was only a Philly thing.
No, dude.
To grease the poles.
It was wild, and they just made the finals.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's a big night, man. It's a big celebration.
I cannot imagine what's going to happen to New York City if they win the finals. We're not ready for them to make the finals. We are not ready for them to win. The world is not ready for them to win the finals.
Yeah, I don't think so either. But if you want to talk about an NBA fan base that deserves it, it's Knicks fans. It really is. It's Bleck Abdalla here on Westwood One Sports and the Westwood One Sports app. So on the other side of last night's game, the Cavs are swept. They've got a player in James Harden who you can't play in a playoff series because he plays no defense. He's not scoring enough offensively. What do the Cavs do from here on out? What do they do this summer? Is there a big fish that they could lure and bring back home? We'll tell you about that storyline coming up next.
Summer's here, and life is on the move. Graduations, vacations, and more. Wherever you're headed, you can count on us. For the daily sports news and analysis you need to hear, listen on the Westwood One Sports app. Wherever you are this summer, Westwood One Sports.
At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 4 minutes, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 4 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 3 minutes and 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 3 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 2 minutes, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 2 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 1 minute, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 1 minute. Stations, this is your final time check. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 30 seconds.
This is Bleck and Abdalla on Westwood One Sports. Here's Chris Bleck and Adam Abdalla.
We were just talking about the New York Knicks making the NBA Finals. They beat the Cavs 4-0. And now for the Cavs, what the hell are you going to do? I mean, this wasn't even close. So, like, to say we're missing one piece, we're just a step away. You really aren't. The Cleveland Cavaliers are really much farther away than it would appear, right? Like in the mirror on your car on the side, you know that little phrase.
Objects may be closer than they appear.
Yeah. That's not the Cavs. They're not closer. They're farther away. When you turn your head,
that window isn't as wide open as they thought it was.
When you check your blind spot and you look, they're way back there. You're good. You got space.
Yeah.
Don't worry. Move on over without the blinker.
Yeah.
It does not matter because they're farther away because your top two players, James Harden and Donovan Mitchell. Mitchell tried last night, but it seems like sometimes the horse in Harden doesn't just go. You know, sometimes that horse just quits. And, like, that's what it is with James Harden. And I feel like I've tried to defend him to some extent because he is an all-time great player.
Listen.
He's going to be a Hall of Fame player in the NBA. But sometimes it just doesn't work with James Harden.
You can lead him to the club, but you can't make him throw the dollars.
Yeah, but that's true. That's a want. That's a want thing. I think that's the key there.
Yeah.
So for the Cleveland Cavaliers, what's next? And I think a lot of this is also, like, to me, it starts with the head coach. Like we can talk about all the different player options and what's going to take place and with James Harden, but Kenny Atkinson ain't it.
You said something about 15 minutes ago that Cavs fans shouldn't be outraged. I disagree. They should be outraged at their head coach. They should be outraged, and that's the one thing that they should be outraged at. You don't have to be like, oh, Donovan Mitchell, blah, 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 James Harden, blah, blah, blah. But if I were a Cleveland Cavaliers fan today, I would be livid at Kenny Atkinson.
Okay, let me rephrase. I meant that in the scope of, I don't think there was like Cavs fever where people thought they actually were going to win the NBA title this year.
Yeah, okay.
You know what I'm saying? To the reaction to getting swept being like, I feel like the reaction would be like, yeah, I mean, they're not as good as the other teams. Now, you're right. They should be angry with Kenny Atkinson.
Yes.
No doubt. After game one, blowing that lead in the fourth quarter, not calling a timeout.
Yeah.
Like that. And then everything that came from that. I mean, listen to Kenny Atkinson after they lose game 3. They're down 3-0. But in Kenny Atkinson's mind, analytically, the Cavs are winning.
Analytically, I think we've won the I said 3 out of 3. We're 2 out of 3 in the expected. I don't know if you guys follow that. It's an expected score. And we won 2 out of 3. And I know you're looking confused, but No, I'm not. There is really, if you believe in process and all that, like, man, take that later. I know I don't throw that on them. I see it for myself. We have this feeling, then I can go to our analytical table and be like, man, we are, I think last night it was, the expected score was like 1 point or 2. Us shooting way below expected, them shooting way over. I know no one wants to hear that. I think you guys like hearing it. I know, general public, no one wants to hear that. Everyone's outcome based, and sure, I get that too.
Do you get that? You're in sports. It's not an effort like,
dude.
Analytically,
dude.
we were only a point back.
Dude.
What the hell?
Dude.
That was before last night.
Fired.
Where they got their ass kicked.
Fired.
To a certain extent, I do understand what he's talking about. I just would not say that to the media and to your fan base.
No, it doesn't make any sense. It makes sense.
Like, I know what he's pointing to. He's saying that Cleveland was getting the shots that they wanted to get.
Good.
And then the Knicks were being forced to take shots that Cleveland wanted them to take.
Yeah.
The difference was the outcome was that the Knicks hit their shots. Mm-hmm. And the point of sport is the final score.
Is that the point of sport?
Yes, that is the point of... Yeah, I don't like, who cares about... being a good competitor or whatever it does, or sportsmanship. I don't care. The point of sports is the final score.
Yeah. So when they lost 121 to 108, they actually won that game.
Well, analytically, they won that game.
It makes sense to me if you're like a month into the regular season. And you're like, if we look at the analytics, we like where we're at. We're figuring some stuff out, and we're gonna get this figured out, right?
Like, I think that stuff is helpful for like baseball.
Yes.
Right? Like if there's a team that's on a slide and you look at their record in the standings and then you say, but the analytics actually suggest this team will be a much better team because it will all even out. Then
not
you say,
in
all
a
right.
playoff series.
No, not in a series.
When you're a game away from elimination.
No.
And you say we're actually up 2 games. No, you're not. You're on the brink of elimination, and you should be fired. You know what it is? You're eliminated, and my analytics show that you're fired. My analytics
the
say
Abdalla analytics.
My analytics say that you don't have a job anymore because
the Abdalla analytics.
Yeah, the Abdalla analytics say. You don't have a job anymore because you're not good at math. So pack up your things and go.
You guys had less points.
Yeah, you had less.
Therefore, you lost. But it's the entire vibe of the Cavs because last night after the game, this is what James Harden said to the media when he was asked, how much better are the Knicks than the Cavs?
I mean, I can't even answer that question, honestly. You know what I mean? Like, Yeah, it was 4-0, but I don't think we had a chance as far as our best shot. From a standpoint of the circumstances. Obviously they dominated us 4-0, but yeah, I don't know if I can necessarily answer that question. Just because genuinely I do feel like we are the better team, but series wise, it didn't show it. So tough question to answer.
So there you go. There's James Harden, one of your leaders of the team.
No.
Tough question to answer.
No. See, that's the problem. It's if that's your mindset, then you need to look at where that mindset is coming from. And if it's coming from the head coach, then that's why that head coach needs to go. Because if you think at the end of a 4-game sweep that you were actually the better team, then Harden needs to go. Kenny Atkinson needs to go. Anybody with that mindset other than we got our asses handed to us in a 4-game sweep, that like you at one point last night you were losing by 45 points.
At home.
At home.
At home.
You blew a lead in game 1. You were up 20 some odd points.
I think it was 22 in the fourth quarter.
In the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
Where you had that game in hand. Like, that's insane. Anybody with that mentality needs to clean out their locker and go.
So what's next for the Cavs? This morning on ESPN television, Brian Windhorst had this to say about the future of the Cleveland Cavaliers.
James Harden is going to be a Cav next year. He's going to sign a new contract in all likelihood. He's going to opt out of his contract and sign a new deal. And that new deal will probably be structured in a way that will allow the Cavs to dip below the second apron. And once they've done that, it can bring in the availability of them to make a major trade. And is that trade a sign and trade deal for LeBron James? Is it a trade for another star player? Would they enter the Giannis Antetokounmpo sweepstakes? Would they try to trade for Giannis Antetokounmpo and then try to convince LeBron James to come over on a vastly reduced contract? Or would they just try to bring it all back? All of these things are possible. Also this summer, Donovan Mitchell has a contract extension decision. He has 1 guaranteed year left on his contract. The Cavs would love to extend him, but for various reasons and for financial reasons, he could push that decision off into 2027 and face unrestricted free agency then. So a very big, weighty summer of decisions coming up for the Cavs. They could take big swings if they wanted.
So there you go, Cleveland Cavaliers. It sounds like from Windhorst, who is one of the best covering the NBA, especially when it comes to things going around in the world of LeBron James, that really anything's on the table for Cleveland, especially in regards to LeBron James, if they could bring him back into the mix. If it is that, if it's James Harden re-signs at a lesser deal, they bring in LeBron with Donovan Mitchell, this team still ain't better than Boston or New York, and even perhaps someone that we're not thinking of at this moment in the Eastern Conference. Like, I don't know if LeBron added to this mix gets Cleveland to the finals.
No, the best option is Harden leaves, you add Giannis and LeBron, and Donovan Mitchell's there. That's the best team.
Yeah.
The best of those options.
But haven't we seen in the NBA as of late that these super teams are piled together with these guys with the high price contracts?
I know.
Like it doesn't do it.
But
like,
of those
we just saw the
options-
Knicks last night just won the Eastern Conference as a deep team.
Yeah.
Guys off the bench contributing and the ability to have 5, 6 in double figures and to have the one guy who's the leader offensively. And you look at the West, San Antonio, especially OKC, they're deep teams. They're not built as a super team from the previous generation.
But this is a team that's not going to do that. This is a team that looks like they're going to go the route of super team. So if that's the route that they're going to go, the best of those options, the one option that you cross off immediately is run it back. You can't do that. You cannot just run this back.
No, you can't.
So if the options are on, every option is on the table, the best option is Harden is off this team somehow, whether he's already declined his option. You just get him out. Bye.
Well, but it sounds like from listening to Brian Windhorst that they want him back.
I don't know why. I don't understand the infatuation with James Harden.
I mean, he's a good player. It's just you need defenders around him. And
Okay.
I don't know if they have that. And,
Would you rather
and LeBron's not the answer.
Would
to
you
that.
rather have James Harden or Giannis?
Well, Giannis. That's
Would you
not a
rather have
question.
James Harden or LeBron?
I'd rather have LeBron.
Okay, so bye to James Harden. So you'd rather have Donovan Mitchell, Giannis, and LeBron, and Harden's gone.
Still not winning anything.
But it's still a better team than what you had on the floor last night.
Yeah,
Okay.
sure.
It's progress.
I guess. I don't think that's the way to do it.
I agree with you, but if that's what ownership wants, rather than try to go the route of building this team up with depth and everything, then that's what they're going to do. It's better than just running it back and keeping James Harden on this team and Donovan Mitchell and then just adding a few key pieces, because just adding Giannis to this team, I don't think is going to be enough. I think you have to add more, and it seems like LeBron wants to come back maybe. I don't know where else he's going to go. He's not staying in LA.
I don't think he is. I mean, we haven't heard a rumor recently about Golden State. I'm guessing that will reappear at some point in the next 2 months. I don't think Cleveland's going to be the only team in on LeBron.
No, I don't think so either. But it seems like the most likely option.
You can text the show at 310-840-4910. We have a text from the 949. Captain Brunson is the best and most clutch closer in all of sports.
Woo.
Jalen Brunson, the most clutch, the best clutch player, closer in sports. I don't know about that. I mean, he's pretty good. He's pretty good. And I can't really argue with Knicks fans today. I mean, this is your day.
No.
You've made the finals. And Jalen Brunson is one of the best closers in sports. He's great. The way he commands a game late and to be able to put his team in position to win is pretty remarkable.
Plus, he's from, broadcasting out of the great city of Chicago. He's from the area. We can kind of claim him.
Sure, if you want to do that, yes. He's from the northern suburbs.
I'm
yes.
gonna for the next couple weeks.
You're gonna claim Jalen Brunson?
Yeah, why not?
Okay. All right.
It's all we have. The Bulls are so bad. They're the laughing stock of the NBA. It's all we have, Chris. It's all we have. We don't have anything else.
It's Bleck Abdalla here on Westwood One Sports and the Westwood One Sports app. Are the Arizona Cardinals the leaders right now in the NFL for the March for Arch? We'll talk about that coming up next.
Where will LeBron take his talents? Will the King continue to hang in Hollywood? Sign with Steph in Golden State? Join the Joker in Denver? Or come home to Cleveland? Find out first and what it means for the NBA on Westwood One Sports.
At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 4 minutes, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 4 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will be in 3 minutes and 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 3 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 2 minutes, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 2 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 1 minute, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 1 minute. Stations, this is your final time check. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 30 seconds.
This is Bleck and Abdalla on Westwood One Sports. Here's Chris Bleck and Adam Abdalla.
We know for the NFL draft next season that Arch Manning is going to be in the headlines. We'll see what happens in this college football season, whether or not he lives up to the hype with the Texas Longhorns, and whether or not he'll be the number one prospect for next year's NFL draft. But with that said, there are going to be teams positioning themselves to possibly draft Arch Manning when we get to that point next season. And the March for Arch starts early. Are the Arizona Cardinals right now actively starting to become the leaders in the March for Arch? ESPN is reporting that the Cardinals and Jacoby Brissett are significantly far apart in their contract talks. Is it because they know that they would be better off, starting Carson Beck this season, seeing if it goes anywhere? And if it doesn't go anywhere, they know they could be one of the worst teams in the NFL, and then maybe draft a quarterback first overall, second overall in this upcoming draft next season. I would also say that with Jacoby Brissett and the contract demands that he's making, easy, pal.
Well, okay, so
who do you think you are?
Look,
what is this?
I think it depends on what Jacoby Brissett is asking for, right? Like, we don't know what his quote demands are. The Cardinals have a 4.5 win total this year, and it's juiced heavily to the under. It's like minus 150 to the under. So They have the lowest win total along with like the Miami Dolphins. And so, yes, it's going to be a battle between those two teams as to who gets the prize of Arch Manning. Or look, Arch Manning could not have a great year. Like, it could be Dante Moore. It could be anybody. Look, Joe Burrow came out of nowhere the year that he ended up being selected number 1 overall. Joe Burrow wasn't on anybody's radar to be the number 1 pick the year that he was selected number 1. So it's not necessarily going to be Arch Manning. When you look at the contracts for starting quarterbacks, I'm not saying that Jacoby Brissett deserves to be paid like Dak Prescott, who's getting the most average money per year, or, even Brock Purdy, who's getting like $53 million, or any of these guys. But the guy is only making $6 million per year on average. If you're a starting quarterback in the NFL, and he wants to be bumped up to like double digits, it's not a huge ask.
Is he a starting quarterback?
Right now, he's technically a starting quarterback.
Is he a starting quarterback
like
in the
NFL? If he's asking for $20 million, that's a lot of money. I would say no to that. Like Malik Willis is getting $22.5 million per year. That is a lot of money. Jacoby Brissett, if he's asking for that, I would also say no to that.
Is there any other team in the NFL that would pay Jacoby Brissett to be their starting quarterback this upcoming season?
Probably not. No.
So is he a starting quarterback?
For the Arizona Cardinals, he is a starting quarterback.
And they don't need him though. Because they may have the idea that we're going to play a young player, and if it doesn't work out, we just go draft a quarterback next season if we're bad.
I am agreeing with you. I'm just looking at pretending to be Jacoby Brissett and what he could be asking for. If he's asking for $22 million a year and wants like another year tacked onto his contract because he's a free agent at the end of this season, and he's saying, bump me up and give me another year just in case, because I want financial security in case I get injured. And I want to be at Malik Willis's level. I would also tell him to kick rocks if I was the Arizona Cardinals. But if he wants to be bumped up to like 11 or 12, that to me as a starter, if they want him to be the starter and they told him he's going to be the starter, and Carson Beck, who was drafted later in the draft, is going to sit, I don't think that that's a huge ask if I'm Jacoby Brissett and his agent. To be a starting quarterback in the NFL, I don't think that's a huge ask. Yeah. Now, putting myself back into Adam Abdalla's shoes.
Okay. Smaller shoes?
Well, I'm not an NFL player.
No, you're not?
I had to put myself back into my Air Maxes today.
The large male.
Okay.
Listen, dude, it's the Arizona Cardinals. Like, who do you think you are? I mean, like, come on. What do you think? It's the Arizona Cardinals. I'll give you 10. I'll bump you up $4 million. I'll give you $10 million. How about that? Take it or leave it.
I don't think
I'll give you $10 million.
Has much leverage at all.
I'll give you $10 million.
I don't think he has much leverage because I don't think it matters.
I'll give you $10 million.
I don't think he's a starting quarterback in the NFL. He's a backup quarterback who has started.
I don't think Malik Willis is a starting quarterback worth $22 million a year, but the Dolphins do.
I don't think so either. But they are paying him. That's the choice that they've made. If I were the Cardinals, I wouldn't make that choice. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
The Dolphins made that decision. Okay. Sure. Enjoy that. I don't think Malik Willis is a starting quarterback. I don't think Jacoby Brissett is a starting quarterback. Are they backup quarterbacks who have started games? Yes. Yes, they have. And they've done okay at it. I think Brissett's been pretty good. He's a pretty reliable backup quarterback. Mm-hmm. I think he's probably one of the best in the league as a backup quarterback.
Yeah.
But you're not paying him starter money.
No, but I think
that's crazy.
This is more about financial security for another year in 2027 and saying, hey, bump me up to double digits like every other starting quarterback in the league. I'm not asking for Dak money here.
I get what he's saying. The Cardinals do not have to do that, though.
They don't. But if he's saying, if they brought him in to be the starter, it's not an unreasonable ask. It's just not. It's not an unreasonable ask for a starting quarterback to make more than $6 million in the NFL.
If you had to predict today, where is Arch Manning playing next year in the NFL?
I think it's Arizona.
You think it's Arizona?
I think they're going to be the worst team in the NFL.
Okay. If I had to predict today,
Now,
my guess would be the Jets.
but that's also
That would
assuming.
be my guess.
Here's the thing, though.
Jets.
That's also assuming he's going to be the best quarterback in college football.
Yeah. I think however it works out, the Mannings always get their kind of way. You know what I mean? He's not going to go to.
Is it okay? Here's the question, though.
He's going to go to the big city. He's going to go to the Jets. That's what I see.
Is it more likely and play for a defensive-minded head coach? Are you sure about that?
He won't be there.
Well, I agree with that, too. Is it more likely that the Cardinals are the worst team in the NFL or that Arch Manning's the best quarterback in college football?
I think it's more likely that the Cardinals are the worst team in the NFL.
Okay, I agree with you on that.
Because I think there's a whole collection of quarterbacks, and we'll see who has the best season. Mendoza, like we were talking about a year ago. Did we expect Mendoza to be the number one selection?
No.
But I do think the Cardinals are going to be pretty bad, though.
I agree.
So
I
I don't think they're going to surprise us there.
I do too.
Bleck Abdalla, pollen season is here, but a dirty car doesn't have to be. Wash it away with Tidal Wave Auto Spa for a quick wash and that clean car happy feeling. Find a location at TidalWaveAutoSpa.com. All right, did you see this over the weekend? The enhanced games took place.
I love this.
Are you familiar with this? It's a multi-sport event that was put on where the athletes could use substances that are banned by the FDA.
I love this.
And while under medical provision and supervision, and they could essentially dope. And there was a competition over the weekend. The enhanced games took place in Nevada. Let's see, from the 21st to the 24th.
Yeah.
I think they were trying to prove a point that they could make like super athletes.
Yeah.
And these people weren't actually doing anything incredible.
A swimmer broke a world record.
Yeah, enhanced. He doped to do it.
But the point is, like, let them dope, man. Sometimes.
So are we going to be the show on Westwood One Sports saying that we promote that steroid use and
No.
doping is to try and become a better athlete?
No.
Is that what you're doing
I'm
here?
not saying that. I'm
To the
just
youth
saying,
of America?
I'm just saying that if you wanted to start an alternative league, like if there was a rival NFL, like if the USL wanted to become a thing, let them dope, and maybe people would watch.
Now, I saw the 100-meter run. That was ran in 9.97 seconds, which would have finished last at the last Olympics.
Because you're so heavy with all those muscles.
I don't think that's what they do, but it's kind of funny that the sprinters that were using the drugs to try and be the fastest in the world were not actually the fastest in the world.
HGH.
Could you imagine?
I want to do the summer of HGH.
Is that what you're going to do?
I want to.
Do you think we can clear that? Is that something that we can
do?
get done?
If I do it as a bit,
yeah.
Can I get it? Can I expense my HGH?
Yeah, probably.
Can I get it
We could
under
try.
the Westwood One medical plan if we do it for the show?
What activities are you going to participate in to show off your new buffness?
I'm just gonna sit here and look buff. I'm just gonna sit here. We're just gonna be on YouTube.
A buffy boy?
YouTube.com/Bleck and Abdalla show, and you're just gonna see the results of the HGH.
Bulging pecs.
I'm just gonna be a beefy boy.
Big biceps.
On HGH.
Forearms that look like tree trunks.
Bust out of this shirt.
Yeah, the enhanced games took place. It's insane. Jason Kelsey said something about football on Sundays that I agree with. We'll tell you about that next.
This is Westwood One Sports.
At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 4 minutes, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 4 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will be in 3 minutes and 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 3 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 2 minutes, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 2 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 1 minute, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 1 minute. Stations, this is your final time check. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 30 seconds.
This is Bleck and Abdalla on Westwood One Sports. Here's Chris Bleck and Adam Abdalla.
That's right, Bleck and Abdalla here on Westwood One Sports, the Westwood One Sports app, Sirius XM Channel 375, all of our great radio affiliates around the country. I'm Chris Bleck along with Adam Abdalla, broadcasting live from downtown Chicago each and every day until 3 Eastern right here on Westwood One Sports. If you want to join the show, you can call or text us at 310-840-4910, hanging out with you until 3 Eastern. You know, Abdalla, that we had the NFL schedule released a couple weeks ago, and we have our fall planned out. If you're into making schedules and putting things into your calendar, when every game of the NFL season will take place this year. We knew the matchups a while ago, but now you have the schedule. The one thing that I noticed with the NFL schedule and what they released is that it seems like we're getting a little skimpy on the Sunday slates. The 1 Eastern kicks on Sunday, the 4 Eastern kick on Sunday. It does feel like we're getting a little skimpy. Maybe only 2 games in the afternoon sometimes, 3 games. If you're someone that loves watching Sunday Ticket or the Red Zone channel and you want to watch all of the football taking place all together, all at once on a Sunday, whatever the reason being. Maybe you don't really watch college football, so you only dedicate yourself on Sundays throughout the football season. Maybe you're a younger guy and you've got a girlfriend and you know that, hey, I can get away with planning stuff on Saturdays because Sunday I'm sitting in front of the TV.
Oh, yeah.
We're not doing something that you want to do.
Going to the pumpkin patch
on Sunday because I'm watching NFL football. But as each year passes and more national TV windows open up for the league, we were talking last week about how Wednesdays seem to be now an option for the NFL to plan into the future. You get the special game before Thanksgiving on a Wednesday. You get the opener of the season on a Wednesday this year. It seems like we are taking, there's less and less inventory that can be used on Sunday specifically. And I said this to you last week that I don't think it's a good thing for the NFL to spread it along the entire week.
Yeah, so I agree with you somewhat. I've heard a lot of conversations of the NFL is oversaturating this and people are going to stop watching. I disagree with that. People are never going to stop watching the NFL.
I mean, that's a crazy opinion. That's not
people
what this is.
People are never going to stop watching the NFL because they're adding days of the week. They're not adding, yes, we're going to get to an 18-game schedule at a certain point, but they're not like adding games. It's not like they're expanding the tournament or adding games to the college football playoff. They're not doing that.
Yeah,
they're just making games on Wednesday and adding international games and
doing that. They're
doing
going to try and add more games,
yeah,
but they haven't yet.
They haven't yet. I agree with you. There was a certain point, and I remember this taking place maybe about 3 or 4 years ago, where I started to notice in college football that the noon slate started to deteriorate. And I would go to start watching the noon slate, and I would be like, where are the good games? Where are, like, you'd get like one solid, like, you'd always get like a really good Big Ten matchup.
Yeah, you're a big nooner.
But even then, sometimes, like, that was like,
Yeah, the big nooner hits like maybe six weeks of the year.
All of the good games were reserved for 4:30 and then at night.
Yeah.
And it seemed like I wasn't missing anything if I wasn't around for the noon starts on a Saturday. And it seems like going through the schedule week to week, a lot of the matchups on Sunday at 1 are just okay. That the NFL has made it a point that we're going to put great matchups on that. We're tired of crap on Thursdays.
Mm-hmm.
We're tired of crap on Mondays. Sundays have never been bad. Sundays have always been great.
Yeah.
Sunday nights have always been awesome.
Yep.
So we're going to keep that. And then now,
of course it is. It's always great.
Holidays,
yep.
Of course.
Sunday Night Football.
Sunday Night Football.
Yes.
Waiting all day for a Sunday night.
Yes, that's right.
Waiting all day.
Carrie Underwood.
Absolutely. And now on holidays, we're not going to give you a bad game on a holiday. Like, we're not going to. And even like
God forbid.
And like, even when we notice the international games are really good this year too.
They're all good
like,
matchups.
There's no clunkers on the international slate. So I feel like because of that, like, when you go through the noon games or the 1 o'clock games, there's like a couple that are like, okay, that's 1 or 2 decent games. And even the 4 o'clock slate, like you said, there's one decent game, But it seems like the NFL, by putting all of the marquee matchups on the night games and the holiday games and reserving those for the international games, and now they've made it in these recent meetings saying that you cannot protect home games anymore for teams. Teams in the past could protect home games from being an international game. So you could protect a divisional game and say, when the league comes to you and says, we're taking a game and putting it overseas, you could say, hey, if you're a Cowboys fan or you're going to play overseas, it's not going to be a Cowboys home game against the Eagles. Can't do that anymore. They could put Cowboys and Eagles overseas if they want to now.
I think the NFL should put all the rivalry games overseas.
What the, you listen, Roger Goodell.
Just put them all over there.
Ridiculous.
Yeah, put them all over there
Ridiculous.
and have the stands filled with AI chatbots.
So now you could get some of more marquee matchups overseas. So now you're right. I feel like
home field. Who cares?
It seems like when you're going through week to week, like I'm looking on like the most oversaturated week is Thanksgiving. You've got a Wednesday game. You've got 3 Thursday games, a Friday game, and on Sunday, there are 6 games at 1 o'clock, 3 games at 4.
Yeah.
And then you've got Sunday night and Monday night.
Yeah.
Like, I get it. It's Thanksgiving week. Like, that's
But 6 at 1 Eastern on Sunday.
Yeah.
Is not the witching hour craziness that people love. And let me make
there's
clear.
there's no Octobox.
Let me make clear to you. The concern is not people won't watch.
No.
That's not what I'm saying.
No.
My concern is that football is meant to be played on Sunday. The NFL is Sunday.
Yeah.
That's what we love. You're right. The Octobox. It all happening at once.
Yeah.
Multiple games in the afternoon.
You don't even have enough games to do an Octobox. What are you going to put in the 7th and 8th box for an Octobox?
So the Kelsey Bros have their podcast, New Heights. I've never actually listened to it. I've only seen clips.
I've only seen the clips of the wedding planning. How's the wedding planning going?
We'll get into that in just a second. But Jason Kelsey had this to say on their latest podcast about the NFL is taking a risky move, moving too many games off of Sundays.
Sunday is the day of I don't think we're there yet. Sunday is the day of football, right? Outside of going to church in the morning, if you're still religious and you do that, Sunday is like where so many games happen. And that's what you grow up and you gear your entire week around watching football on Sunday.
Yeah.
It's an institution at this point, the NFL playing games on Sunday. With every day that we keep adding in there, we're getting away from that just a little bit. And I worry that I think the game got big. One of the reasons it got so popular and big was because all of the game, it was an event. Sunday is the NFL. And everybody set their week apart to tune into their games that were happening on Sunday. And you're watching kind of all of them now take place across Sunday Ticket, right? I worry that we're getting away from that just a little bit by building too many of this.
So there you go. There's Jason Kelsey. I agree with him. Mm-hmm. That's it. Yes. He nailed it.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah.
I'm with them.
Yeah.
Good call, Jason Kelsey.
Mm-hmm.
There you go. I agree. And it's routine. He mentioned you build your entire week heading towards something. Mm-hmm. Yes, obviously, when your team plays on a different day of the week, you adjust. But there is something to a rhythm of a football season, right? You go, you do your grocery shopping to get your tailgating foods. You have your routine. Maybe you order delivery every Sunday afternoon, and here come the pizzas and the wings, and right, like it's comfortable. It's what we know. Mm-hmm. And the more you siphon off a game here, a game there, okay, now we're going to dip our toes into Tuesday nights. Can we do a Tuesday game? Can we do this? Can we do 3 games on Monday? How many games can we do on Monday? Why don't we do all the games on Monday night? Like when you start goofing around with it.
Let's do all the games overseas at 8 a.m.
Yeah, let's do all the games overseas. Every rivalry game let's do overseas. And let's just play the NFL schedule, the full slate overseas.
The Super Bowl is in Paris.
There it is. Every game overseas.
At 9 a.m.
I mean, when you're doing that, you're removing the traditional aspect of NFL football on Sunday on, the traditional 1 Eastern start time for most of the slate. That's the way it should be.
I found a worse week for you too, by the way. But that's because there's 4 TBD games because you could play Saturday, Sunday, the week of Christmas. The week of Christmas, there's a Thursday game. There's 3 Friday games because of Christmas Day. Right now, scheduled, there's only 4 games Sunday at 1 o'clock.
Well, what do you mean only scheduled?
Because there's the TBD games because that week they start playing Saturday games.
Yeah, but half of those games, the games that aren't the Saturday games will be the Sunday
There's
games.
still only going to be 6 games in that noon window.
Oh, that's 2 weeks.
That's ridiculous.
2 holiday weeks.
But when you look at the matchups too, they're all just like meh games. Like none of these are like I'm going to watch every single game. I love the NFL. I'm going to watch every game. I love it. But there's no like I have to sit down and watch every single play of this game because they're meaningful and intriguing matchups. It's like the Chargers against the Dolphins. Okay.
I find value in every NFL game.
So do I.
I'm not someone that marches around going, this is a bad football game.
I understand
like football. I'm sorry,
I understand
Abdalla.
it.
I'm sorry it's not a good enough
I get it.
matchup for you.
It's going to be great. I can't wait to see Cleveland head to Baltimore at 1 o'clock on Sunday, December 27th.
Raj points out to us in regards to like the games on Sundays.
And the next question comes from the line of Raj Sharan with Westwood One. Please proceed.
Please proceed. Yes, Raj points out to us that Google pays about $2 billion a season for Sunday Ticket on YouTube TV. Well, what do you need Sunday Ticket for if there's only 4 games at 1 Eastern on a Sunday?
There's no way that they're making that money back. There's no way. There's no way that enough people need Sunday Ticket when all of these games are in prime locations that you live out of market that you need to see your team.
So let's do this. It's now time to announce the Defensive Player of the Week, brought to you by Navy Federal Credit Union. Our members are the mission. I'm going to say Jason Kelce is our Defensive Player of the Week because he is defending the honor of the NFL to be played on Sundays.
Defending our honor.
There you go. There it is.
Defending our honor.
This is what I like. I like Jason Kelce talking football, not doing comedy bits at the Masters.
Yes.
There you go.
Agreed.
So
or his late night talk show.
Yes, or that on ESPN television. Yeah, that was terrible.
It's gone now, but yeah.
In defense of more football games on Sundays.
Agreed.
Jason Kelce is our Defensive Player of the Week, brought to you by Navy Federal Credit Union. Our members are the mission. You know, the other option I was going to say was perhaps we could nominate Travis Kelce. Or maybe Taylor Swift because she offered him gum courtside at Game 3.
Gum?
Defending bad breath.
Oh, what? Did he have bad breath after chugging the beer?
I don't know, but he was. Did you see them after Game 3 of Cavs Knicks?
I saw the beer chug.
Yes,
that he did, and she was not amused. She was like, "Oh, my boyfriend's.
He's crazy.
He's embarrassing me. He
is just wild."
Yeah, I mean, I did not see the gum offer.
Yeah, she gave him some gum.
Okay. Listen.
She had gum in her purse. She handed it to him.
That's nice, though. What's wrong with that?
She's defending bad breath.
Okay, but she got
she
some
was going to be the other option for Defensive Player of the Week.
Well, that's good, though. She got some gum for herself. She offered some gum. What's wrong with that?
There's nothing wrong. I didn't say there's anything wrong with it. Do you like gum?
Occasionally, I'll have some gum.
You go for a good chew every once in a while?
Nothing wrong with having a chew.
Okay. I'm not much of a gum guy.
Neither am I. I prefer a mint.
You just said you did.
I said I will occasionally. I prefer a mint to a gum. I feel like I don't know what to do. Like after a while, I'm like, what do I do with this now?
Raj, you chew gum? Are you a gum guy?
I like gum.
Raj is in on gum.
I get down on gum.
He gets down on gum. Did you have any other thoughts on Kelce and Taylor Swift courtside Game 3? I mean, if we've talked about it and joked about it here on this show that everything with her, much like LeBron, is premeditated and done for the photo op.
Yes.
And clearly, coming in and out of the stadium, the photo ops were there of Travis and Taylor heading into the stadium.
Yes.
What was she trying to prove with this situation? That this is like real? Are you buying that this is real everlasting love between the two? because she went to a Cavs game where they got blown out at home
Well,
in a series that
he
they
wanted
weren't.
to go to the game.
No, I know he wanted to go to the game.
Okay.
So this is legit. Lock it in.
I don't. First of all, I don't care.
I think you do.
I don't. You're the one that brought it up. I don't care whether or not it is everlasting love or not.
You have to pay equal time to the Kelseys. So if you talk about one, you got to talk about the other.
I don't care if it is or isn't. I don't care that he was wearing a Louis V Canadian tuxedo with the jean shirt and the jean pant, the jeans. I don't know. They wanted to go to a game together, and they went to a game. Who cares? I care as much about them as I care about Timothée Chalamet and the Jenner going to the game, the Knicks game. I don't care.
The Jenner?
I don't care.
The Jenner.
I don't know which one she is. Which one is she?
I think it's Kylie.
Okay.
Kendall is the
we
one
call Otto?
that had the basketball roster.
Kendall's the
taller one, I think. And she's the model.
Yes. Yeah.
I think that's the case.
Okay. I don't care.
Kylie.
I don't care.
You do care.
I don't.
You care.
You care, man.
I don't.
care.
She wanted to go to
You
he
have
wanted
to
to go to a
care.
game, and he was like, "What are we doing tonight? Let's go to the game." I also didn't know that he was a Cavs fan until they showed up to the game.
I didn't know that either. Wait, what's the connection? I'm sure
He's from near there.
Oh, he's from Ohio.
He's from near
they're
Cleveland.
Cleveland sports fans?
I guess.
I feel like shouldn't we know? We know a lot about these the Kelseys. Shouldn't we have known that by now? Or am I the one that's in the dark here that I didn't know that?
I think we're both in the dark on this.
Raj, did you know that they're big Cleveland sports fans?
I didn't know them as Cleveland sports fans. I knew they were from Ohio, but I didn't know them as Cleveland sports fans.
All right, so there you go.
I learned something today.
There's your update.
There you go.
You also learned Taylor Swift had gum in her purse.
She had gum in her purse, and
What kind of gum?
I can't tell you that.
Okay.
The
Am
the
I
kind
crazy
that you
or is
chew.
that a lot of gum?
It's a lot of gum.
Yeah, it's the kind you chew, man.
Just sitting around having a chew.
Having a chew with buds. Just having a chew on the front row
I
of an NBA
feel like
game.
there's some crazy Swifties that like found out the kind of gum.
Yeah, and the
and
stock
now
prices are
there's
now
like
through the roof
There's
because
like
people
a
are buying it.
million Swifties out there that are like heading out to the stores buying out that gum. Yeah.
It's extra.
It was extra?
Oh, okay.
No,
All right.
no
Thank
way.
you, Roy.
Taylor Swift is not chewing extra, okay? Nah. That's
let's
ham and
see.
egg or like me gum. She's chewing like high-end stuff. No way that it's
High-end
extra.
gum. What is
Gum
high-end
is gum.
Gum.
What?
What is high-end
She's
gum?
getting her gum like organic from a market or something like that.
You want to know what would be awesome if it was nicotine gum?
Oh, yeah.
That would be great.
That would be great. It's Bleck Abdalla here on Westwood One Sports and the Westwood One Sports app. So we were off yesterday for Memorial Day. We're back today. Coming up next, not only do we get to go one-on-one with Raj, we also have power rankings. We get doubler because we were off yesterday on a Tuesday. How about that? Raj joins us with one-on-one and power rankings coming up next.
Remember Deshaun Watson? He's been on IR the last 19 months. And now, the front runner to be the Browns starter. But Shador Sanders and Dylan Gabriel are coming for the job. As always, the quarterback carousel in Cleveland is one to watch. Westwood One Sports.
At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 4 minutes, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 4 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 3 minutes and 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 3 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 2 minutes, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 2 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 1 minute, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 1 minute. Stations, this is your final time check. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 30 seconds.
This is Bleck and Abdalla on Westwood One Sports. Here's Chris Bleck and Adam Abdalla.
Hanging out with you until 3 Eastern. It's Bleck and Abdalla here on Westwood One Sports and the Westwood One Sports app.
And the next question comes from the line of Raj Sharan with Westwood One. Please proceed.
Please proceed. Yes, that's right. It's now time to bring in Raj from Colorado, parts unknown. As Bleck and Abdalla, we broadcast live from Chicago each and every day. We were not here yesterday on Monday. Usually we play one-on-one. So how about this? We'll play one-on-one with Raj and then a little power rankings with Raj on a Tuesday. Love it. What's up, Raj?
What's up, fellas? I feel bad I didn't get the white T-shirt memo today, but that's okay because we'll go one-on-one anyway.
Neither of our shirts are white.
What is going on? My shirt is not white.
My shirt is light blue.
It looks quite
Mine's
white
like a light
on the
blue
YouTube.
gray.
Yeah.
It's the lighting.
It's got to be the lighting. Looks very white. You both look
You
very
guys sound like
stylish,
haters. Jeez.
No. Jealous. I feel out of the club. All right. time to go one-on-one. As you mentioned, Chris, we usually do this on Mondays. We're going to do it on Tuesday since we had the holiday yesterday. And we're going to lead off with a re-ask, okay? I asked you guys this question before the playoffs began, all right? And I remember your answers. And now I'm going to ask again, now that the playoffs have been going on, and let's compare and contrast if your answer has changed or not, which, by the way, I read the other day is a sign of intelligence when you are willing to change your mind upon having more data. So, Abdalla, the question is, what is the biggest issue facing the NBA? Is it tanking in the regular season? Is it load management, again, in the regular season? Or is it foul baiting and flopping in the regular season and in the playoffs? Abdalla?
I'm not changing my answer. It's still load management. It still is. It still is.
I'm not changing.
I'm not changing my answer. I'm not a prisoner of the moment. I'm not someone who's easily distracted by shiny objects and analytics that we get that are right in front of us. I see the forest through the trees, and I know that through a entire regular season, load management is the biggest problem for the NBA. It is what people complain about the most throughout the regular season. It is what people complain about the most when they go to games and they want to see the stars that they pay to see play, and they show up and they're not playing. That's the biggest problem for the NBA. It's one or two teams that are doing this. It's mostly one team that's doing the foul baiting and the flopping, and hopefully they lose because of it. Yeah, that's right. I'm rooting against the Thunder. They're fans.
Wow.
But yeah.
Wow. So you have a problem
He's been
with
checking
Thunder
the
fans?
comments
No, I have
on
no
those
problem with
B&A
Thunder fans.
shorts.
They're a very passionate group, and I love them. They're great.
Oh, wow. Backtracking.
No,
Got
they're
it.
great. I like
Jeez.
passionate fans. They're great. And so it's still load management. It's absolutely load management. They've got to find a way to fix this.
Raj, unfortunately, I think you have two hosts here on the show who are not intelligent, because I believe my answer to you previously was tanking. And I'm going to stick with tanking, because I think when you have a third of your league not actively trying to win games at the end or the midway point of a regular season, that hurts the league more from a perception standpoint than the foul baiting or the load management or anything else that takes place that gets to this point. It's got to be tanking. That's got to be, because what happens with the perception is the common fan thinks that teams throughout the regular season are not trying. Now, you could say some of that load management conversation mixes into that, but I think the general population, when we're having conversations in March, because the tournament's taking place in college basketball, and people want to tell us that college basketball is better than the NBA, their go-to is, well, people aren't trying. Teams are tanking. Players aren't playing. We go, okay, yeah. Then, and what did we say at that point? Let's see what happens when we get to May and June. And what has taken place over the course of the end of April, May, and then as we hit June next week. What has taken place is that, well, a lot of flopping. But we've seen TV numbers in the ratings that are the highest that we've seen since the 90s. Okay, so I think we were right on that one. Let's see how basketball fans watch basketball when it's most important. And people are watching right now, including like tonight. Game 5, Spurs Thunders.
Oh, yeah.
I'm going to watch that.
We're going to watch.
I'm going to watch.
But think about it.
watch
Like,
that.
we couldn't ask for anything better than that tonight. Game 5, the series is 2-2.
Yeah.
Like, this is a great game tonight. So I can't wait. Raj, my answer then and now is tanking.
All right, guys, let's go over to the NFL. We just talked about the Cardinals a little bit earlier today. So this is one of those questions when I'm going to ask you to project a little bit. All right. We all know where all these teams stand today at quarterback, but who in the NFC West will be in the best position at quarterback in 4 years? Will it be the San Francisco 49ers? Maybe with Brock Purdy, maybe not. Will it be with the Los Angeles Rams? Presumably with Ty Simpson. Will it be the Arizona Cardinals, maybe with an Arch Manning? Or will it be the Seattle Seahawks with, is Sam Darnold still there or not? Who's got the best long-term outlook in perhaps the NFL's best division at its most important position, Black?
I'm going to answer San Francisco. Brock Purdy is not my cup of tea. I think he's average, mid, as the kids would say. But I think he is known. And I think from 4 years from now, I think we can still guarantee that Shanahan's going to get the most out of Brock Purdy. And so I'm going to put my claim there because I do not know what's going to take place with the Cardinals. I'm not sold on the Sam Darnold in Seattle combination long term, and we don't know with Ty Simpson and the Rams. And I don't think Stafford will be there in four seasons. So I'm going to go Brock Purdy and the San Francisco 49ers.
I'm also going to say the 49ers, but it's not necessarily because Brock Purdy is still there in 4 years. It's because I have the confidence in Kyle Shanahan to get the most out of whoever is there. So if they have to sign someone, if they have to draft someone because Brock Purdy is gone or he's injured or whatever it is, he's not on the team anymore, or he is still there, I have the most faith in Kyle Shanahan to get the most out of that offense and that quarterback. For all the reasons Chris gave with the other teams, like, you know, with the Seahawks and Darnold.
You both mentioned Kyle Shanahan and a confidence in Kyle.
Yeah.
No, we don't have the same confidence in Sean McVay to
Well,
get the most out of his quarterback?
There's still the opportunity that Sean McVay leaves when Matthew Stafford leaves.
Yeah.
Like that. I know he's got I know he just signed a contract extension. However, there's still the option that when Matthew Stafford rides off into the sunset in 2 years, McVay goes with him and goes to TV because he's flirted with it before.
My answer leaned more towards Ty Simpson. I agree with Raj. I'm confident in McVay.
Yeah.
But if Ty Simpson's the guy, I'd rather have Purdy.
Yeah. Right now, yeah, for sure.
All right, guys, back over to the hardwood. Nick Kostos' New York Knicks have a better chance in the NBA Finals if they're meeting the Oklahoma City Thunder or the San Antonio Spurs. Abdalla?
Oh, I think it's the Spurs. I think they match up better with the Spurs. I think you can say it's the playoff experience. They both don't have any experience in the NBA Finals, so you can rely on that. I think that with some of the way that they match up with the height and all of that because of the size of the players as well, I'm going to go with the Spurs. I think the Thunder are also deeper, so I don't think they match up well against them with their depth. And defensively, I'm going to go with the Spurs.
Yeah, I would love to disagree with Abdalla, but I think he's right. I think it is San Antonio. I think that would be the best matchup for the Knicks just because I think the edge in the backcourt as far as scoring would go to New York. And I think Karl-Anthony Towns wouldn't be able to stop Victor Wembanyama, but I do think he would be able to limit him somewhat.
Annoy him a little bit.
With the game plan, keeping him away from the basket. And then also on the offensive end for Cat, he would make Wemby wouldn't be able to just go guard a guard like he's been doing against the Thunder, guarding Alex Caruso and then being a rover. Mm-hmm. He would have to guard a big, which I think plays into the Knicks' hand. So I would say it's San Antonio would give the Knicks the best chance to win.
All right, guys, let's go back to the NFL, and this is a bigger discussion than just a video game because traditionally the cover athlete of the Madden football game is like the cool face of the NFL from a marketing standpoint. Like that's who the league is rubber stamping as their cool. Like, it was Saquon Barkley last year. It was the image of the backward jump, which was the highlight of the year 2 seasons ago. So we should be finding out who's on the cover any day now, but the odds have 3 players as the presumed favorites, and one is the overwhelming favorite. So I ask you, we'll start with you, Bleck, who should be the cover athlete of Madden 27? Should it be Jackson Smith-Njigba? Should it be Matthew Stafford? Or the overwhelming favorite, the betting odds of Polymarket or whatever is like over 90% that it's going to be in your great city of Chicago, Caleb Williams. Who should be the cover guy for Madden?
I thought you were going to say Tyson Bagent. Can we just not? Is that possible? Can we
worried?
go Jackson Smith and Jigba?
You worried about the curse?
Can we just not do that?
You worried about the curse?
Can we just not do the curse thing?
You worried?
I'm not worried. I just don't want. Can we just see this through?
You worried about the curse?
I don't want anything disrupted
A little
with
curse?
what we're building
Little
here in
curse?
Chicago with our quarterback.
Right now in
Bubble wrap.
Kalishi,
Let's get him.
93%. Caleb Williams, those are his odds to be the cover boy.
If
93%.
I had to guess, Raj, I would guess it's going to be Caleb Williams, and I would guess his throw on 4th down against the Packers, where it kind of is like a jump man logo type of thing. I'm guessing that will be the cover photo.
Yeah, I mean, he was on like the schedule release picture. Like he's being marketed as
Can we just not, though?
one of the faces
Do we have to do
of
this?
the NFL. It's gonna be Caleb.
He's
Like,
going to be
it's-
everywhere too. Like
it's-
when you're on the front of Madden from about, I think the game comes out in like July, like up to the start of you are everywhere.
Yeah.
What about Cam
Every
Scatterbo? Can we
store.
put him on the cover?
Everywhere.
Can we put? What about Dart? Can we put Jackson Dart on
Can we
there?
put Jackson
Can we
Dart
put
on
the
there?
Dart? Can we
Okay.
put the darty party up there? Come on, man.
Can we get Jackson Dart on the cover?
After this
why
past
not,
weekend, I'm not sure.
Max Crosby. Can we get the story of the offseason? Max Crosby
Yeah.
on there.
There you go.
What about Fernando Mendoza?
What about the cold shoulder from Eric DaCosta?
Yeah,
Can
come on.
we get that
Yeah,
on the
let's do
cover?
that. I want. What about our haircut guy? Can we get? Can we
I
get
actually
haircut?
saw
Yeah,
like
can we get on there?
somebody photoshopped
Everybody-
Rabel
what about
Rossini
Shedeur
and did
Sanders?
a version of them.
Shedeur Sanders.
Yeah.
Everybody loves Shedeur. He's a social media
Yes.
darling.
Yes.
Put Shedeur Sanders on the cover.
Yes.
Come
Why
on.
not? Why not,
One of
Raj?
put one of his interceptions on there.
Oh, jeez.
Oh,
See,
boy.
now you're going to have Browns fans coming after you.
You are.
Okay.
All right. And finally, guys, we've talked a lot about the role players. A lot of players are in and out of this series. Pivotal game 5 tonight. Abdalla threw out the numbers earlier. It's overwhelming. If you're 2-2, if you win game 5, you win the series. So let's just make it about the superstars. Who's better tonight, Wemby or SGA, Abdalla?
I feel like it's gone back and forth and back and forth. SGA Wemby, SGA Wemby. So tonight would say SGA is going to be better because Wemby was better in the last game. I think he had like 33 points and something like that. So I'm going to say SGA just because it's going back home, all that. I'm going to say SGA is going to be better tonight just based off of the way it's been a little bit back and forth and back and forth.
I'm going to say it's a heavy whistle for the Thunder at home tonight. So you know that Shea Gilgeous-Alexander will be sliding and falling all over the court and getting to the foul line. So you know that that's the case. He'll probably have like 18 free throw attempts in tonight's game because he's just laying on the floor constantly.
When in
so it's
doubt,
going to be
we
SGA. I will say this, Raj. Every single time Wemby has faced adversity, he's responded.
Yeah.
It's notable. We'll see. Can he then tonight take control of the game early like he did in game 4 and have the game flipped in a sense where the Spurs are the ones controlling the tempo, the pace, and what's going on? Or will it be the Thunder who jump out early, home crowd going nuts, bench players hitting threes, and it's just a party in Oklahoma City as we head towards game 6? I think it's going to be SGA. That's my answer.
And that does it for one-on-one, guys.
How about that? Look at that. Bleck Abdalla, sponsored by Progressive Insurance. Save on commercial auto insurance from Progressive. Get a fast quote at progressivecommercial.com. Raj will stay with us as we go through power rankings on a Tuesday. Coming up next with Bleck and Abdalla.
Summer's here.
I'll be right back with you.
And life is on the move. Graduations, vacations, and more. Wherever you're headed, you can count on us. For the daily sports news and analysis you need to hear, listen on the Westwood One Sports app. Wherever you are this summer, Westwood One Sports.
At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 4 minutes, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 4 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will be in 3 minutes and 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 3 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 2 minutes, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 2 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 1 minute, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 1 minute. Stations, this is your final time check. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 30 seconds.
Is Bleck and Abdalla on Westwood One Sports. Here's Chris Bleck and Adam Abdalla.
That's right. Check out the podcast on Apple and Spotify. Also, YouTube. Like and subscribe to our YouTube channel each and every day. We have the live stream up there on YouTube, Bleck and Abdalla Show. Also, exclusive content posted to our YouTube channel. Like and subscribe to the channel. Each and every day, we broadcast live from the great city of Chicago. And now, Raj Sharon joins us from Parts Unknown in Colorado as it's now time for Power Rankings on a Tuesday. What's up, Raj?
What's up, fellas? We got to get our power rankings in on Tuesday. The whole week is all thrown off here from the holiday yesterday. So we'll play a little catch up here, and we are talking OTAs because 11 different teams started their OTAs today, and these are the 11 teams that you're going to have to choose from during power rankings. We have the Indianapolis Colts, who Abdalla loved that Sauce Gardner trade last year. We've got Trevor Lawrence's Jacksonville Jaguars. We got the Justin Fields-led Kansas City Chiefs. We've got Mike McDaniel and the Chargers. We got Jalen Hurts after the hit piece with the Eagles. We've got the Packers. We've got Kyler and JJ with the Vikings. We've got the Panthers. We've got Baker and the Bucks. We've got the Rams with Ty Simpson. We got the defending champion Seahawks. Those are the 11 teams that you have to pick from. Our first power ranking category today, Abdalla. Low-key intriguing. Low-key intriguing.
Low-key intriguing. I'm going to go, first of all, I'm going to say the Minnesota Vikings because I want to see exactly how they split up these reps between Kyler Murray and JJ McCarthy, and if they're going to make this a true competition or if we're going to see, all right, Kyler Murray's actually getting all the reps here and, JJ's actually getting 25% to 75% type of thing, because will tell us exactly what's going on here right away. Or if this is Kyler gets all the first team reps one day and then JJ gets all the first team reps the second day, then we know, they're actually doing a real competition here. And then I think the next one that's intriguing is the Jags camp. To me is intriguing, their OTAs, because everybody panned their offseason and said how bad it was. And so I want to see what's going on with Liam Cohen and the way that they played towards the end of the season and how Trevor Lawrence played toward the end of the season, and see if they can take the next step and become a better team next season. So those are the two that are intriguing to me.
Yeah, I've got 3 on my list, Raj, for low-key intriguing as we head into the season. Jacksonville is on my list. I'm with you, Abdalla. I want to see what they do. Green Bay is on my list. And also Tampa Bay. I think Tampa Bay and Green Bay, both teams that missed out one that missed the playoffs, one that loses. I'm interested in all 3. Jags, Packers, Bucks as my low-key intriguing teams as we head into the offseason.
All right, guys, next power ranking category. You can choose among the 11 teams at OTAs today. The next category is who's giving you the Z's, Bleck?
Yeah, it's easy for me. It's Indy, the Colts, and Carolina with the Panthers. Those 2 teams, of the teams that are starting their OTAs today, I'm not really fascinated in either side. Carolina, you get into the playoffs, you back your way in. You weren't good enough to be a playoff team. Congratulations, you played a tough game against the Rams, hosting that game because of the way seeding works in the NFL with the playoffs. And the Colts, they were fake good last year. People raved about them, telling me, through a month and a half of the season, this is one of the best teams in the AFC. Yeah, you fell on your face. The Colts are not that good. Sleeping on the Colts. Take that.
Take that.
Wow.
Trademark. I am going to go with the Panthers. I agree. The Panthers are boring. Okay, Bryce Young, is he going to get any better? We'll see. We'll find out. The defense they added a lot to the defense this offseason, so we'll see. Look, is it weird to say that I'm bored by the Super Bowl champions? Because
I was just about to say it's kind of the Seahawks, right?
To me, it's kind of the Seahawks, because are they just going to be that good again? Are they going to do anything else? I mean, they got rid of their Super Bowl MVP running back. They drafted a running back at the end of the first round, so they didn't really do much else. So, okay, they're kind of boring to me. So, all right, are they just going to be good again? Are they going to be great again? So it's those 2 for me.
I like where your head's at, Abdalla. Okay. All right, next power ranking category. If you're just joining us, we are choosing amongst the 11 teams that are starting OTAs today in the NFL. And our next power ranking category is all we care about are the quarterbacks. That's it. It's the only storyline that matters. All we care about is the quarterbacks. Who are you putting in here, Abdalla?
I have 3 teams for me. First of all, the Chiefs. It's the health of Patrick Mahomes, how he looks early. Is he going to be ready for the regular season? Number 2, it is the Chargers and how Justin Herbert looks with new offensive coordinator Mike McDaniel and what he does with that offense and how he's taking over along with Harbaugh there. And then, of course, the Eagles and the hit piece that was done with on Jalen Hurts there. What does that look like? I mean, are they going to have A.J. Brown there? Like, what is going to happen with Jalen Hurts there? And what goes on with the Eagles? I mean, that hit piece made it seem like he was the problem with the Philadelphia Eagles.
Probably the best hit piece of the offseason.
Well, but
jacked up.
There was a joke I was going to make that probably would have caused me to have a day off tomorrow for another reason that I'm already going to be off tomorrow.
Oh, you're going to leave us tomorrow?
Well, it is a holiday.
All right.
So, so it's those 3, the Chiefs, Chargers, and Eagles.
The hit piece.
Yeah.
Here are my teams, Raj. I had Philly on my list for the teams where it's all about the quarterback. I would also put, I'm surprised Abdalla didn't have the Vikings.
I used them earlier, so
yeah,
I don't want to use them again.
Double dip, because they got 2 quarterbacks that are going to be fighting for the position. So I think of the 2 teams of those who are starting OTAs today, Eagles, Vikings. It's all about the quarterback. That's my list.
All right, guys. Next category on Power Rankings, we're choosing amongst teams that are starting their OTAs today. I suppose you can't really pick the Seahawks for this one. Ready to take a step forward. Who are we putting in our category ready to take a step forward, Bleck?
I'm going to go with Jacksonville and Los Angeles Chargers. Los Angeles Chargers, ready for a step forward. Same with Jacksonville. They had there was like a 2-month period at the end of last season where Jacksonville was one of the best teams in the AFC. So I think it's Jacksonville, and I want to see if the Chargers can take that next step with McDaniels as the OC.
I mean, there's one team for me, and they better do it because they drafted a player at 13th overall that's not going to play for 2 years, so it better be the Rams. Otherwise, we're going to look at that we're going to be staring right at Les Snead and Ty Simpson and being like, what were you doing if you don't win the NFC Championship and go on to a Super Bowl or win the Super Bowl? At least make the Super Bowl. Because if you are 1 or 2 plays away and you could have drafted a player that would have made you that 1 or 2 plays, then what were you doing drafting a player that's not going to see the field for 2 years?
Yeah, that's fair.
So to me, it's the Rams ready to take a step forward.
Final category,
guys.
Raj.
Final one.
And finally, ready to take a step back, Abdalla. Who's ready to go backwards?
Well, I'm going to start with before Daniel Jones got injured. So the way that offense was flying, I think the Colts, they just have to regress back to the mean. Like that offense isn't going to be as good.
I'm hitting snooze on the Colts.
Well, I know you did earlier. I'm going to say the Colts that offense is not going to be as good as the way that they were at the beginning of the season before Daniel Jones got hurt. So I think they're going to be ready to take a step back.
All right, I got 3 for you. Seahawks, step back. Eagles, step back. Kansas City Chiefs, step back. Oh, those are my 3 teams, Raj. There you go.
With Mahomes coming back, the Chiefs. Yeah. Oh, wow.
Yeah,
okay. Well, that does it for Power Rankings today, guys.
Thank you, Raj. How about that?
Double dip.
Double dip.
On a Tuesday, which feels like a Monday, even though it's Tuesday. Thank you, Raj. We appreciate it.
Think of my bits.
What do you mean? It's Bleck Abdalla here on Westwood One Sports and the Westwood One Sports app. The Knicks are heading to the finals. We'll talk about it next.
This is Westwood One Sports.
At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 4 minutes, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 4 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 3 minutes and 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 3 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 2 minutes, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 2 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 1 minute, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 1 minute. Stations, this is your final time check. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 30 seconds.
This is Bleck and Abdalla on Westwood One Sports. Here's Chris Bleck and Adam Abdalla.
That's right. Bleck and Abdalla here on Westwood One Sports, the Westwood One Sports app, Sirius XM, channel 375, all of our great radio affiliates around the country. I'm Chris Bleck, along with Adam Abdalla, hanging out with you until 3 Eastern, and that's when Jim Rome will take over right here on Westwood One Sports. You can call or text the show every day at 310-840-4910. The New York Knicks are going back to the NBA Finals for the first time since 1999. They sweep away the Cleveland Cavaliers last night. They've now won 11 straight games here in the playoffs. They are winning by an average margin of victory that we've almost never seen in NBA playoff history. And the New York Knicks are now waiting out the Western Conference Finals. Game 5 is tonight between the Spurs and the Thunder. The NBA Finals does not start until June the 3rd, which is next Wednesday. So the New York Knicks now have 7 full days of rest until the NBA Finals starts up. This is a huge win for the NBA, getting New York into the finals. I know they don't get to hand select the teams, but the draw of the New York Knicks, that fan base, the Garden, and everything that comes with it, I think is a huge win for the NBA. And the NBA is having a great playoff run here with television viewing and all the attention that the West is getting. This is a big moment for the NBA, and the finals should be good no matter what we get out of the West.
Oh, man, yeah, you couldn't draw it up any better for the league to have this. I know that the games in the East, at least, have been blowouts because the Knicks have just been dominating their opponents. Their average margin of victory is 19.5 points. That's the best in NBA playoffs history by 3 points. You know, the record was 16.7 points that was set by that great Warriors team that went on to win. So, like, to set that record, blowing out teams, they won by 37 last night. They were up 45 at a certain point because, I mean, you can say after game 1, it seemed like the Cavs quit, but you could tell after game 3. Like, going into game 3, you can say that, okay, maybe they get back home, the Cavs could maybe spark something, win at home game 3, then you've got a chance you can win game 4 at home. Like, you're at home. You should be able to do something. They looked lifeless in game 3. They looked like they quit in game 4. They didn't even show up in game 4.
Yeah.
And the Knicks move on. The city blows up because the fans are everywhere in that city. The arena is going nuts. Like, it's like the Knicks fans took over the arena in Cleveland.
Yeah.
Like, it was awesome.
Yeah.
And so now you've got this great fan base in New York Knicks fans that are going to be in the finals. You've got this great team that are great offensively. They've got some decent defensive players, but for the most part, they don't really play any defense. But when they're on offensively, since the Hawks series, they've been playing great offensive basketball, putting up as many points as they want to. Jalen Brunson has been outstanding for them, and they've just gone on this run, and they're up there with one of the, as the point margin says, they're one of the best playoff teams we've seen in a very long time, and the rest will help them because you've got two teams in the Spurs and the Thunder that are beating the absolute crap out of each other for the next best out of 3 games, for at least the next 2 games. Game 5 tonight in Oklahoma City. You know, the Thunder are 4.5-point favorites tonight. We'll see if they can win at home. And so for the next at least 2 games, the Knicks get to watch and get the winner of this series. And it doesn't start, like you said, until June 3rd. You've got a week to sit here and watch.
Yeah, the thing that I noticed with the New York Knicks, which is cool, is they're a team, right? And I think it is talked about, obviously, the connection with those who are together at Villanova, and then they come together here in the NBA. Josh Hart, Mikal Bridges, and then Jalen Brunson. They win together in college, and it's a team. It's a team effort, right? Jalen Brunson as a superstar, being able to prove all the doubters wrong to every step of the way in his career is also just an outstanding sports story. Mm-hmm. Now, if you want to lean on the fact that, like, yeah, his dad played in the NBA, his dad's an active coach in the league, like, it's not that crazy that this guy was able to get to this point, but he's small in stature compared to other NBA players, and on paper, you would say that the skill set maybe isn't a NBA superstar, except that's not what sports is all about. It's about actually going out there and competing. And no one competes like Jalen Brunson and his ability offensively to control games and to score at his pace and to use his body to get the spots on the court offensively that other guys can't do. and hit shots and to be clutch. Like, it is a pretty unique situation that the Knicks have. They have a full team. And I think that's what's really cool about this is we've talked about and we will talk about Cleveland and their possible setup for the future. What do they do next? And it seems like all of the options that are out there floating around from ESPN, from Sports Illustrated, it's all funneling back to super team territory. That's not what the Knicks are. It's not what the Thunder or the Spurs are. These are deep teams with role players who are maximizing their potential. Now, of course, don't get me wrong. The MVP is playing for the Thunder, two-time MVP, a freakish athlete that we've never seen before in sports is playing for the Spurs, right? So we have an alien on one side. And when you look at the Knicks, Karl Anthony Towns was a very hyped player coming out of college into the NBA. He's a superstar in his own right. Mm-hmm. He almost made the All-NBA team this year. He was one of the first guys that was left off the third team. So he's in the conversation of the top 15 or so players in the league. And Jalen Brunson is absolutely one of the best scoring guards in all of basketball. So give credit to the Knicks. It was really cool to watch. You mentioned the fans. You mentioned the crowd. I agree with you. I don't think there's a better basketball atmosphere in the NBA than Madison Square Garden when the Knicks are good. When the Knicks are good, that place is alive, and you can feel it through the television, or if you're listening on the radio, you can tell it's a different vibe. It's a different kind of setup than other places. And then also, I want to give credit to Mike Brown. Mike Brown replaced Tom Thibodeau. I thought that was a raw deal for Thibodeau. I think Thibs can coach. He clearly ran that team into the ground, which he runs every team he coaches into the ground. He doesn't care about managing minutes. He doesn't care about that stuff. And it's pedal to the floor at all times with Thibodeau. And Mike Brown easing up a little has now allowed this team to get to the NBA playoffs and thrive. And so you got to give credit to Mike Brown. They also put Karl Anthony Towns up on the post to be the one that's facilitating the offense at times. That's worked well. A lot of the coaching decisions have absolutely worked well. You know, Landry Shamet hitting threes off the bench, looking the way he has. I mean, those are all coaching decisions and moves. And it all goes back to Mike Brown has had a great run here in the playoffs.
Yeah, absolutely. And like you said, the move was panned by a lot, especially when you go from Thibodeau to Mike Brown, because Thibodeau, like you said, he's a great coach, but he's had this reputation of eventually he wears out his welcome, whether it's with players, whether it's the front office, and sometimes it's both. And he'll get another job. Like he will be a coach again in the NBA, but the fact of the matter is, like, you got to as close to this point as you could with Tom Thibodeau. And you bring in Mike Brown, you change around some of the players, and the coaching decisions work out for you, and you're in the NBA Finals for the first time since 1999. And I think they've got a really good chance against either the Spurs or the Thunder. I think they've got a better chance against the Spurs than they do the Thunder, just based on depth and experience of the Spurs and the Thunder and the lack thereof for the Spurs. But I do think that based on how this series is going back and forth for the Spurs and the Thunder, that the rest and getting healthier and resting up and all this kind of stuff will help the Knicks in the finals. And having these two teams beat up on each other for the next few games, however long as it goes, 2 or 3 more games, will help the Knicks out. And you're right. Like, Jalen Brunson has just turned himself into this superstar that, whether it's coach of the son, like you mentioned, or not, I don't think anybody saw this coming. Like, being a good player and being a star in the NBA is one thing, but turning yourself into the guy on the team is completely different and completely unmatched than what I think anybody thought he could turn himself into. And if they end up winning, he's going to put himself into historic, like, Knick fashion, which is, like, I mean, all the historic players that they have, to see Jalen Brunson go into that is, I don't think anybody would see that coming.
Well, I mean, I would say he is the most important athlete in the city of New York right now.
Oh, for sure.
And I know that Aaron Judge has won MVPs. I don't know. Jalen Brunson has got to have the highest approval rating from New York sports fans, because you have the Nets exist, but I don't think that people follow the Nets like they do the Knicks. And the fact that he is in that situation and he's able to get this team to the finals, like I was trying to think, like through the history of the NBA finals, how unlikely it is that this Knicks team has gotten to the finals. And what I mean by that, it's not based on, like, don't come at me with the points per game margin that they've won at this point, the 11 straight, the 2 sweeps in a row, the last 2 series. My point is your best player is a scoring guard who checks in at 6'2". That is so unlikely in league history to have your best player be under 6'6".
Yeah.
Right? Like, he is a smaller guard who can score the basketball. And when you start thinking about that, I think about the Pistons of the late 80s into the early 90s with Isaiah at point guard, who was their best player, but that was a full team. I think back to last year, Tyrese Halliburton getting the Pacers to the finals. That's got to be the most obscure team to get to the NBA finals. Like when we look
games, yeah.
when we look back and we see, in the history books that the Pacers were able to get to the finals with Tyrese Halliburton, like that's going to stand out. And then the other team that I thought of was in 2001, the Philadelphia 76ers were led by Allen Iverson.
Yeah.
And Iverson was in his prime, and he got that team to the finals. They lost the finals 4-1 to the Los Angeles Lakers. They ran into Shaq, Kobe, and the middle of the three-peat for the Los Angeles Lakers. The Lakers were just so good at that time. But you have to give credit to AI to get his team to the finals. I don't know what the end story is going to be. I don't know if this is going to be like Halliburton and the Pacers last year, which had a chance, but they didn't get it done. Or if this is going to be like AI and the Sixers back in 2001, where you have game 1 where you look awesome, and then the Lakers pull off a gentleman's sweep after that. Or could this be like the Pistons of the late 80s? Like, maybe the Knicks do win the championship this year. I'm not ruling that out, because I think it would be naive to look at what you have in the West and just assume that because those two teams were 60-plus winners in the regular season, they're going head-to-head in the Western Conference Finals, that they just automatically win the finals. This is a good Knicks team. It's going to be a competitive series either way.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Because of the way this team can score. And I think that when you've got a bunch of guys that can score points and you're a deep team that can put up double figures, each guy can put up double figures each night, I think that you've got a chance against any team, whether it's the Spurs or the Thunder, for sure.
Now, on the other hand, with Cleveland, what the hell are you going to do? Do you bring back James Harden? Do you try and go after and chase LeBron James? Is Giannis a possible play for the Cleveland Cavaliers? I think there's one thing that's obvious to me is Kenny Atkinson can't be your head coach going forward. What a disaster of the Eastern Conference Finals for Atkinson as your head coach.
You can't say the things that he said after Game 3 and expect to keep your job.
Take a listen. This is Kenny Atkinson after Game 3. The Cavs got blown out in Game 3. This is what Atkinson had to say about analytically the Cavs were winning the series.
Analytically, I think we've won the I said 3 out of 3. We're 2 out of 3 in the expected. I don't know if you guys follow that. It's an expected score. And we won 2 out of 3. And I know you're looking confused, but I'm not. There is really, if you believe in process and all that, like, man, take that later. I know I don't throw that on them. I see it for myself. I'm like, man, we have this feeling, I have this feeling. Then I can go to our analytical table and be like, man, we are, I think last night it was, the expected score was like 1 point or 2. Us shooting way below expected, them shooting way over. I know no one wants to hear that. I think you guys like hearing it. I know, general public, no one wants to hear that. Everyone's outcome based. And, sure, I get that too.
Sure, I get that. Dude. Yeah, everyone's outcome based. Sure, I get that too. The person that the reporter, when he said you're looking at me, and he goes, "Oh no." The reporter should be like, "Yeah,
Yeah.
Like, you're nuts.
Pack up that analytical table that you go to with that BS and go find another job, because that's ridiculous.
That's brutal, man.
You can't say that when you're down 3-0 and you're on the brink of elimination. Like, that's insane. Like, how can he keep his job? How can he keep his job?
It's so bad.
How can you go into the locker room and say, guys, we're actually winning this series 2-3. If you lose game 4, it's okay. It's okay. It's okay.
It's okay. We're analytically, we're close.
It's
we actually
okay.
we're winning this series analytically.
Because if we lose game 4, the series is tied, even though we're going to be going home.
Analytically,
the series is tied, even though we're going to be having our exit interviews and packing up our lockers and going home.
Yeah. Analytically, yes.
Fired.
Yeah. Analytically, yeah. I mean, Bleck Abdalla here on Westwood One Sports. Analytically, we're also being carried live on Netflix. Yes, analytically, we are also being carried live in movie theaters across the country.
I'd have fired him before game 4.
What the hell is he talking about?
They had an interim head coach before game 4.
And it's a trickle down, because then your star players, I mean, this is after the series is over. James Harden was asked, how much better are the Knicks than the Cavs? And he said this.
I can't even answer that question, honestly. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, it was 4-0, but I don't think we had a chance as far as our best shot, you know, from a standpoint of the circumstances. You know, obviously they dominated us 4-0, but yeah, I don't know if I can necessarily answer that question. Just because genuinely I do feel like we are the better team, but you know, series-wise, you know, it didn't show it. So, tough question to answer.
Circumstances? You mean playing in the NBA playoffs? What the hell is James Harden talking about? Circumstances.
Off the team.
You're making excuses because you had to go 7 games with the Pistons? Is that what he's pointing to?
Get out of here.
Because the Knicks took care of their business and they swept away the 76ers?
Get out of here.
Nope. Like, are you serious?
Both of you. You can help coach pack up the stuff.
Circumstances.
Nope.
Yeah, we're the better team, but the circumstances.
Here.
You know what matters? Like the games.
No.
James, how about this, James Harden? Play a little defense, and then maybe the circumstances would change.
James, you grab one side of the analytical table. Atkinson, you grab the other side. You guys help carry that table out to the truck, because you're both out of here.
Carried that thing into what's the lake? What's their bait? Erie? Carried it in Lake Erie. Put the table in the lake.
Get your gumi.
Sit on the table. The two of you sit on the table in the lake.
Get it out of here.
You enjoy. See if you're able to stay afloat.
Ridiculous.
With that crap.
I'd be so mad if I was a Cavs fan at that.
It's insane. So there you go. And so good luck to the Cavs. It does seem like we will now be for the next 2 months on LeBron James watch, because that's the hot rumor. I saw it from Chris Mannix in SI this morning that's the play, that the Cavs should bring LeBron home. We also seen Brian Windhorst suggest maybe it's LeBron, maybe it's Giannis Antetokounmpo, maybe it's James Harden staying with the Cavs. It seems like there's a lot in play for Cleveland here in this offseason. I would start with the head coach. That would be number one, where I would start with the Cavs. Game 5 tonight, Spurs and Thunder. Series is tied 2 games apiece. 8:30 Eastern. The game will be on NBC television. Should be a fantastic game. Game 5 of a series. Usually the winner that goes on to win Game 5 in a 2-2 series goes on to win the series 80% of the time, which is tonight's a big one in the NBA. The SEC right now, they're holding their spring meetings in Florida. All the coaches are speaking, the commissioner is speaking, and they're prepping for the college football season. Kirby Smart may have just suggested something that's insane. We will tell you what he suggested to reporters recently, coming up next.
Where will LeBron take his talents? Will the King continue to hang in Hollywood? Sign with Steph in Golden State? Join the Joker in Denver? Or come home to Cleveland? Find out first and what it means for the NBA on Westwood One Sports.
At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 4 minutes, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 4 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will be in 3 minutes and 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 3 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 2 minutes, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 2 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 1 minute, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 1 minute. Stations, this is your final time check. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 30 seconds.
This is Bleck and Abdalla on Westwood One Sports. Here's Chris Bleck and Adam Abdalla.
You know, a couple of weeks ago on SNL, there was the spoof of Tucker Carlson, and the guy kept going, "What are we doing?
What are we doing? What are we doing here?
What is this? What are we doing? What are we doing with college football?
That's the new normal.
What are we doing? That's the rule. That's the norm. What are we doing with college football?" And I say this because as we sit here today, the SEC is holding their spring meetings in Florida. And I continue to say, what are we doing? What is this in regards to college football? Because Kirby Smart, head coach at Georgia, just said to reporters that if they can't figure something out, quote, we'll just do it on our own.
Well,
here's a full quote from Kirby Smart. "I've said this for a long time to our president of the university.
Yeah.
I've been a huge advocate that if we can't find rules that everyone plays by, then we should just play on our own. I'm not afraid of that. I'm not afraid to break away and say that our conference is still strong enough to go out and play." End quote from Kirby Smart, head coach at Georgia. What are we doing? What's going on?
Listen, all last week, and you can check out the shows wherever you get your podcasts. This one's a free podcast.
This show?
Yeah, some of them you have to pay for. This one's free.
Not this one.
This one's a free podcast.
For the people.
For the people, yeah. All last week during Big Ten Media Days, all these coaches, mouthpieces for their conference. We want 24 teams. Why not 48 teams? Why not even more? But no. You know what? Here comes the SEC to make it right. Here comes the SEC.
I don't know if it's making it right.
To tell you what's what. Here comes the SEC. The big dogs. The big dogs of college football.
Who won the last 3 national titles?
Shut up.
Okay.
Here comes the SEC.
I think the North and the Big Ten have something to say to that.
Here comes Mike Elko, Texas A&M head coach.
What did Elko have to say?
Texas A&M says, do you want a college football playoff expansion? What does Mike, this is his exact quote, he's talking in the third person. What does Mike Elko want? 40 teams. Then I won't get fired. It's okay to make it hard. It's okay to make it hard to get to the playoff.
Yeah.
None of us are answering for the good of the sport. We're answering for the good of ourselves.
Yeah, well, Elko's right.
How about Steve Sarkisian, head coach of Texas? I liked it when it was 4. I didn't want to go to 12, and I'm not going to like it when we expand to more.
Yeah. Yeah,
you're damn right.
The SEC coaches are flexing.
The SEC coaches are coming in to tell you what's what.
Yeah, they're flexing because they're sick of hearing it from the Big Ten coaches who are all following the party line, telling them that 24 teams is good because Fox is controlling behind the scenes what the Big Ten is trying to accomplish and to create more inventory of playoff games. That's what this is. That's what it is. ESPN runs the SEC network and the SEC package of college football games. They control the college football playoff. They say no need in expanding. Mm-hmm. And so you're hearing from the coaches of the SEC this week step out and say that if we can't agree on rules, like, do you hear what Kirby Smart is suggesting? Kirby Smart is suggesting that if everyone can't get on board with the same thing, that the SEC would just go on their own.
Goodbye.
And they would just do their own thing.
12 games.
And that you would have SEC games against SEC teams.
That's it.
Every week. And they would essentially...
And then we'll just play a playoff on our own.
For a lack of a better example, create their own league of SEC schools. Which is essentially like the soccer model in Europe. They would just create their own Premier League. And that's it. And that they would play each other. And then at the end of the year, they'd have a 2 or a 4-team playoff between those teams. And that's it. The SEC would do their own thing.
And you don't think people would watch just as much as they would watch the regular college football?
And by the way, that Elko quote is great because that's a direct shot at someone like Lincoln Riley, who just desperately wants expansion so he can save his gig because the guy is a fraud of a coach. And so he can't make a real playoff. So, but if they expand it, maybe USC can sneak in somewhere as the 7th alternate team of the Big Ten to get in with an automatic bid. Like, my God.
How about Kalen DeBoer, head coach of Alabama? I don't really care. I just worry about winning all the games so I don't have to worry about the committee.
Hey, thank you. Thank you. Win your football games. What in the hell are we doing?
SEC Media Days. Hell yeah.
It's great. And like that's why I started the conversation by saying, what are we doing? What's going on? It's the norm. It's the rule.
Yes, this is what should be happening. This is what should be happening. Not mouthpieces for the networks trying to get more games and more money.
That's what it is. That's exactly what's taking place, and it's ruining college athletics.
It should be coaches that are saying, what happened to competition? What happened to making it hard? What happened to coaching your ass off and trying to win games? Huh? What happened to that?
I'm sure Raj heard that. Yeah.
I know he did. Large male. I know. What happened to making it tough and trying to win every single game? Huh? What happened to that?
Competition, man. It's the same thing with the transfer portal. You go to a school, they bring in a new quarterback. Oh, now there's a competition. I'm jumping in the portal. I can't compete. Soft. It's insane.
Ridiculous.
It's okay to compete a little. So if the SEC did break away and they were going to have their own thing, what would that look like? Would they just only schedule games in the conference?
I'm sure you would get...
Or would you get something where at the end of the day, the SEC, we go back, because like this is not having arguments and claiming national championships is not anything new in college football.
No.
If you go back decades, there were always multiple publications that would declare a national title winner at the end of the season, right? So you'd have the AP poll, you'd have the coaches poll, you'd have all these different iterations of that throughout the history of college football. So what would happen? The Big 10, the Big 12, the ACC would say that Ohio State went undefeated and they won a 172 team tournament to be the college football champion. I'm making up a number.
Yeah.
You get the point. Some ridiculous tournament at the end of the year.
Yeah.
So 40 plus teams or whatever the hell the Big 10 wants. So every team gets a bite at it, right? Like even the bad teams in the Big 10 get to say they're playoff teams because everyone's included. Minnesota, we're looking at you, PJ Fleck. Like, okay, so the Big 10, the Big 12, the ACC, they do that and they say Ohio State's the national champion because they won our tournament.
Yep.
What would they call it? January Madness?
Well,
December Madness, whatever they're going to do.
Well,
and then the SEC would have their teams, and then they play their games, and then they'd have the SEC championship game. And then what? They would claim they're a national champion as well?
Well, you say the ACC. Are you sure about the ACC?
Well, they're a little wishy-washy.
Because what happens
They're a
when...
little wishy-washy. The SEC is worried. The ACC is worried because they know they have schools that the other two conferences want.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what's happening in the background is that if there's a conference that's going to be broken apart, if this stuff goes down, it's going to be the ACC.
What happens?
Because the Big Ten for years has been rumored as a conference that wants North Carolina and they want Virginia.
Yep.
And then the SEC, it would make sense from a football landscape if Clemson and Florida State and Miami were SEC schools.
You'd have to add one more to make it even to get to
Va-Tech.
to get to 20. Yeah, so you'd add Virginia Tech. So and that would make sense. That would give you 20 teams in the SEC.
Yeah, that would make a lot. That would make a lot of sense.
So if you do that,
I'm sure Georgia Tech would want in on it because if I'm not mistaken, wasn't Tech at one point a part of the SEC?
I believe so.
Like 50 years ago.
Yeah. Add Miami. Throw Miami in there for fun. Why not?
Yeah. I said Miami, Florida, Clemson, and then you're looking at someone else. But it's been rumored for quite some time that the Big Ten has been sniffing around North Carolina.
Okay.
The Big Ten wants North Carolina and they want Virginia.
So you do that once the ACC, because the ACC will split up at some point.
Yeah, well, and that's why the ACC at their media availability last week, they're leaning towards what the Big Ten wants because they don't want their conference ripped apart.
Yeah.
So they're trying to play both sides of it.
Mm-hmm. And when they do get their conference ripped apart, and this does happen, if it does happen, then, I don't know, maybe you get like a Champions League of college football?
Again,
like,
what are we doing?
I
What's
don't know,
the point
man.
of all this?
Like, do you? I mean,
It's
look, there's
stupid.
always been rumored that like the big schools would leave.
Well, there was
and do their own thing.
There was the idea at one point before the expansion of the college football playoff kind of took hold. There was this loose idea that there would be a super conference, made up of the SEC and the Big Ten.
Yes.
I don't think the television partners are on board with that.
Well, no, because you've got two
and that idea
groups
would have
arguing
been
right now.
That idea would have been the SEC and the Big Ten essentially would mimic like a lower level of the NFL.
Yeah.
Where you'd have two conferences, you play your schedules, you play your championship game, and you'd have a winner. And unfortunately, anyone that's a fan of a team that's in the Mountain West or in the ACC or the Big 12 kick rocks.
Tough tamales,
That's essentially what that idea was. I don't think it will ever happen because of the two television partners in the background trying to pull the strings.
Yeah. And I think that I don't think we're going to get to that. And I think that, look, all of this is, once again, this is all coach speak to an extent. Like, Kirby Smart, like the SEC isn't breaking away from college football. And just like the Big Ten coaches were mouthpieces for their conference, the SEC coaches are doing the exact same thing.
Yeah, that's fair.
For their conference, because ESPN doesn't have as many games as Fox does.
The difference is we just agree with the SEC coaches.
We agree with the SEC coaches because
that's
we
the
don't want
difference.
expansion. That's the difference is we are on the side of the SEC coaches. That's the difference. We agree with them, so we're on their side. That's the difference. That's what's right. That's what's going on. That's the new norm.
When I hear this stuff with college football, I can't get that Saturday Night Live bit out of my head. The spoof of Tucker Carlson on SNL. What's going on? What are we doing? Like, I just can't get that out of my head. It's so great. Bleck Abdalla, sponsored by Progressive Insurance, protecting your business vehicles 24/7. See if you can save at progressivecommercial.com. One quarterback in the NFL has been told to do less. Can it create more? We'll talk about that coming up next.
Where will LeBron take his talents? Will the King continue to hang in Hollywood? Sign with Steph in Golden State? Join the Joker in Denver? Or come home to Cleveland? Find out first and what it means for the NBA on Westwood One Sports.
At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 4 minutes, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 4 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will be in 3 minutes and 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 3 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 2 minutes, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 2 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 1 minute, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 1 minute. Stations, this is your final time check. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 30 seconds.
This is Bleck and Abdalla on Westwood One Sports. Here's Chris Bleck and Adam Abdalla.
Check out our podcasts on Apple and on Spotify. You can also like and subscribe to our YouTube channel, Bleck and Abdalla Show. Thank you to Raj and Roy for producing today's show. Up next, right here on Westwood One Sports, Jim Rome. Coming up with the Jim Rome Show in 15 minutes right here on Westwood One Sports. The Chicago Bears coaching staff has a simple message for quarterback Caleb Williams. As quarterback coach JT Barrett was talking to the media recently, and the Chicago Sun-Times has the article, the idea is this: do less. That's what JT Barrett wants. Here's the quote: "We don't want to have to work as hard for our money. There's times where we could just work through our progressions and get the ball out on time instead of having to create and extend plays." So that's quarterback coach JT Barrett for the Chicago Bears. And the advice to Caleb Williams for this upcoming season: do less.
I agree with him to an extent, because you worry about the pendulum swinging the other way, right? Like all of these comebacks and leading the league and setting an NFL record for the most comebacks wins in under with 2 minutes to go in the game, right? And you worry about that going the other way and all those, acrobatic throws turning into interceptions and, those 50-50 balls going the other 50% where those turn into interceptions and stuff like that. And we saw it in the NFC Championship game where that actually happened. So, or that kept them from going to the NFC Championship game. So I do believe he's right in that sense. However, some of those plays are what make Caleb Williams. Like, to an extent, when you hear defenders talk about facing Caleb Williams, that's what keeps them up at night, is his ability to escape pressure and his ability to extend plays and go through his progressions and not see anything and then take off in the backfield and not take off and run, but stay in the backfield and stay and maneuver out of the pocket and behind the line of scrimmage and then make a throw. So I don't want them to take the Caleb Williams out of Caleb Williams. You know what I mean? Like that ability is what makes him special.
Yeah, please don't put Rex Grossman back there.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, we're good. Let's keep Caleb.
Like, that's what, like, you want to keep that to an extent because that's what makes him special, and that's what I think will turn him into an elite quarterback.
I think what a lot of this is pointing to is, like, earlier in the game, those plays that have to happen at the end in crunch situations where you don't have an option, that's where he can set himself apart athletically compared to other quarterbacks. Mm-hmm. Some of those throws that he can make, there's like two guys on the planet who can do that stuff. It's Mahomes, Josh Allen. That's kind of it.
Yeah.
Sometimes Lamar, sometimes Joe Burrow. But like in some of those spots, Caleb is the only player who can pull off some of that crap. And I say that with the utmost amazement and support as a Chicago Bear fan myself.
Yeah.
But some of it's crap. I mean, like, if you're a fan of a different team and you see some of that stuff, you're like, that guy sucks. He's just throwing it up and he's praying that it falls to someone.
Mm-hmm.
He pulls it off, though.
Yeah, he does.
I think what JT Barrett is talking about is earlier in the game and when things kind of bogged down, instead of trying to bail or extend plays, get the ball out of your hand and let other guys kind of do the work and stay ahead of it. I think that's where the less is more type of idea, do less. I think that's what they're trying to coach him this year because you're right. You don't want him to change as far as the theatrics and the stuff that he can do when the back is against the wall. Like, I don't know. There's not many quarterbacks we've ever seen who can do that.
Yeah.
But it's not consistent, and it would be a better situation to not be in those spots to begin with.
Exactly. I hope his back is against the wall less so he doesn't have to do that as often.
And I think that's the idea from the Bears coaching staff here in this offseason with Caleb Williams as he heads into his third season. Obviously, it'll be a big story as we head towards training camp and the NFL season. The Bears will be hyped this year. They made the playoffs last year. We'll see if they can repeat it. We're both in Chicago, and I'm skeptical on if that magic is going to return because it's a tougher schedule, and you mentioned it in this conversation. It's tough to repeat that stuff. Those magical plays, the end of game, the ball goes one way, you luck out in all these situations. They felt charmed last year. Mm-hmm. You can't guarantee that from one season to the next in the NFL.
The mood is very high in the city for what the Bears can do. And it feels like that people are surprised at the skepticism as to why they could possibly take a step back.
The surprise in us, two of us having it? Yeah, no doubt. Yeah. Because I think, local fans are usually blind to the idea that their team could ever go backwards.
Exactly. But when you look at like when Jeff Schwartz was in here with you last week talking about it and saying how they could be better, but the record could actually be worse.
Yeah.
And saying, well, the teams around them are better and other circumstances around them could be better. The defense could be worse because they generate less turnovers. They don't get to the quarterback, all that kind of stuff. Like that could factor into a lot of these things, but Caleb gets better. Like he didn't hit 4,000 yards last year yet.
Nope.
Like they haven't had a quarterback do that yet. So he could do that next year. And it could be a problem if he doesn't do that. So, let's slow our roll here a little bit. Let's see what they do.
It's Bleck Abdalla here on Westwood One Sports and the Westwood One Sports app. All right, here we go. Game 5 tonight. San Antonio at Oklahoma City, 8:30 Eastern. The series is tied 2 games apiece. the two best teams all season long in the NBA in this matchup getting to a Game 5 where, for a lack of a better way to look at it, tonight is the series. Now, Abdalla, you and I were going back and forth off the air about this. Like, yes, you're right. If one team wins tonight and the other team wins the next two, they win the series. Correct. Usually in the NBA playoffs, the winner of Game 5, after the series is tied 2 games apiece, usually that's how the series swings. So tonight is an epic game in the Western Conference Finals, Spurs and Thunder.
Yeah, the winner of Game 5 goes on to win the series about 80% of the time. I think that has to do with the fact that Game 7 is at home usually for the winner of Game 5.
Yeah, it's a best 2 of 3.
Exactly.
And you get 2 home games.
Exactly. And I think the Thunder do win tonight. That being said, I think the Spurs will win Game 6. And I think we get a Game 7. So I think it's going to be closer than the games we've seen in the past. Like, I don't think the Thunder win by like 20. I don't think the Spurs will win by 20 like we've seen as well. So
I hope we get a classic.
I hope we get a good game. Yeah. I'm tired of seeing some blowouts. I hope we get something like we saw, early on in this series where you were like, oh man, like we are in for some elite basketball here going forward. So I hope we get something like that.
On the side of the conversation with Wembanyama in this game, it has felt like Wemby has a great game, and then it comes back just a little, and then the Spurs will lose, and then he responds. I want to see tonight, does he show up the way he showed up in Game 4 tonight and dictates the policy to the Thunder, or will it be the Thunder with the home crowd? People are going to be going nuts in that arena. Our three's going to be hit from the role players, Caruso, Dort, all the non-SGA homegrown guys.
Yeah.
Like, I just want to see how the Spurs react at the start of the game. Now, I hope it's a classic and it goes back and forth, and that tomorrow here on the show we can break it down and have that conversation, because I think people are really interested in the series, and I think people really enjoy watching this series, and the numbers are not lying on that. This series is must-see TV for most sports fans.
No, absolutely, and I think you will. And you're right. There is something weird about this, about Wembanyama having a great game and then just an okay game and then a great game.
Yeah, right.
And tonight would say that he's just going to have an okay game with this back and forth, because he had a great game 2 nights ago when they were in San Antonio. And they lost Game 1 in San Antonio because he had an off night. And then he responded with a great game. He had 33 points, I believe, and he had a great game, and they won that game.
And I'm guessing SGA tonight will get to the foul line a lot. Usually what we see in these situations is that the whistle is heavy towards the home team. So I'm guessing that in most of those situations tonight, that's going to be the case. The official injury report at the moment, the Spurs have not listed anyone. Jalen Williams is questionable for tonight.
Okay.
So we'll see if he is going to play this evening. Should be a fantastic game. I'm guessing, though, the Thunder win and SGA has a big performance.
Yeah, I think so, too. I think that's going to be the outcome.
So we'll talk about it tomorrow here on the show. It's Bleck Abdalla here on Westwood One Sports and the Westwood One Sports app. Jim Rome and the Jim Rome Show is coming up next.
This is Westwood One Sports.